Hi guys, welcome to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel for this live Premier League watch-along for the game between Ipswich Town and Tottenham Hotspur. The Tractor Boys beat us at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium earlier this season, so it's time for revenge. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Please do get involved. Send your comments in. I will be getting into the chat throughout the afternoon. It is a long day of Tottenham Hotspur content. Let me take you through what exactly is going to be happening. I will do the watch along here straight after the game. I will do an instant match reaction show, and then I will do the Spurs fan call-in show, people and fans calling in from all around the world. After that, at about 6 o'clock, Chris Cowlin will be hosting the Spurs Chat podcast, where he'll be joined by Ricky Norwood, Mike Apps, and Johnny Bow. Please do, guys, make sure you press like on this on YouTube. If you haven't already, the more likes that we get, the more Spurs fans will be notified of this content in their suggested videos. And please do subscribe to Chris's channel if you're not already, at Chris Cowlin on YouTube. So, 2 wins on the spin for Spurs in the Premier League. Brentford 2-0 away, Manchester United 1-0 at home. I don't know if you guys, how many of you were watching that Manchester United-Everton game just then? Wow. I actually went upstairs, I was watching it downstairs. I went upstairs to start getting ready for this when Man United were 2-0 down. Next, I turned it back on at 87 minutes, and it was 2-2. And then the penalty incident, once again, showing that VAR is completely ridiculous, and there is no consistency. The whole idea of VAR currently that they're not supposed to re-referee the game. It's only for clear and obvious errors. The referee gives a penalty to Everton the last minute for a foul by De Ligt and or Harry Maguire, and then the ref is sent to the screen and somehow turns it over. Absolutely bonkers. But that is current refereeing VAR, and let's hope that's the only mistake from it today and that there isn't anything similar at Portman Road in this, the Ed Sheeran derby. You can guarantee there'll be endless cuts from the director on TV to Ed Sheeran up in the stands. But all week I've been feeling relatively confident about this game. I've been thinking, a little bit of momentum from the 2 victories. Ipswich are struggling, although they did get an amazing result at Villa Park last week when they were down to 10 men for all of the second half, and they got a draw. So there's no way it's going to be easy. They will be organised, the fans will be up for it, and they'll be in our faces. But hopefully, can Spurs just keep that momentum going, get an early goal, and then just start playing some of our football? Let's get into the team news. Actually, before I do, Matt lifts in the comments says, "Where's Barnaby? Who's this chap with a posh haircut?" Yes, I did. Anyone who watches my videos this week, I did warn you I was going to get a haircut, and it has happened. Let's hope it is the lucky haircut, and that Spurs don't lose another game all season. We go on to lift the Europa League with this haircut and get ourselves back into the top 8. Let's get to the team news, though. Vicario starts his 2nd game in a row in goal, and Ange has done what I've called for in my videos all week, which is give Pedro Porro a rest. Jed Spence starting at right back, with Destiny Udogie coming in for his first start in absolutely months at left back, and then Danso and Gray at centre backs. Ben Davis has picked up a knock again, unfortunately. In midfield, Bentancur, Bergvall, and Deki Kulusevski, and then Sonny on the left, Johnson on the right, and Matthias Tell up front. So there were reports earlier today that there were some knocks that Ange didn't talk about yesterday, those being to Ben Davis, James Maddison, and Pap Matas Sarr. Maddison and Sarr are on the bench. The bench is Kinski, Porro, Reguilon, Bissouma, Sarr, Maddison, Moore, Odebear, and Dane Scarlett. So good to have some depth in the bench again for only the 2nd week in a row after it's been so many months without any depth to that bench. I guess Sarr and Maddison's knocks can't be too bad, and he's just being careful with them really before the Man City game. And if Ben Davis's knock needs a little rest before Man City, then I think this is the right game to rest him in as well, and hope he'll be back for that one to play alongside big Kevin Danso. The Ipswich team, Palmer in goal, who had an absolute worldy performance last week at Aston Villa. Then Godfrey, Davis, O'Shea, and Greaves, Cajuste, Phillips, and Philogene, who's quick, isn't he? He was at Aston Villa before. And then Hutchison, Jack Clark, ex of Spurs, although didn't get a chance at Tottenham Hotspur. The big signing we made from Sunderland gets a start. And Liam Delap, who is on Tottenham's list. So, guys, let me know in the comments, how do you feel about that Tottenham team selection from Big Ange Postecoglou? I'm pleased that Pedro Porro is getting a rest. He's just been overplayed. If anything, I kind of wish that Sonny had got a rest too. look, he's had a couple of weeks training, so a couple of weeks without 2 games a week, and he was, I was going to say he was slightly better last week, but actually I thought Sonny had a bad performance last week, if I'm totally honest about it. We need more from him. I think Ipswich will be incredibly well organised, and often it will be a bit of a deep block that we're playing against, and that's why I fear a little bit that Sonny and Johnson are not the ideal wide men to be starting this game. Ideally, I think we'd be bringing them off the bench when the game gets a bit stretched in the second half. The worst case scenario, and actually Ange talked about this in his press conference this week, would be if we managed to let Ipswich get ahead and then just do what they did at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which was just really, defend us off the park. So Tottenham really have to start high tempo, get the ball down, play some of that Ange ball like we were a little bit more against Manchester United last week. The good news, as I mentioned already, though, huge depth to that bench and the ability to change things if things are going awry. Fifth Pint in the comments says, big job for Tell. That's another big change. Obviously, we do have Danso and Tell in the side, which we didn't before, and that does give us a little bit more strength, certainly in depth. And I've been impressed with Danso so far. Let me know in the comments what you've thought of Big Kev Danso so far, but I've been impressed with him. And I think Tell, as he gets more rhythm in his legs and as he gets used to his teammates in training, I think, I've been impressed with his touch and his movement so far. And we just need to get some rhythm into his legs so that his finishing improves a little bit. He was snatching at some chances last week, I thought. Obviously, important to remember, we do have Manchester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Wednesday night. So another 2 games in a week. And then after that, we have a whole week's break before the first leg of the AZ Alkmaar game. And in yesterday's press conference, Big Ange did say that he's hoping to have Mickey van der Ven and or Christian Romero back for that first leg, and then potentially Dominic Solanke and Richarlison available not too long after that as well. So I've been saying on my videos, I'm really interested to hear in the comments what you guys think. I'm basically saying just wrap those players in cotton wool and only play them in the Europa League. I'm talking about Van der Ven. I'm talking about Romero. I'm talking about Maddison. I'm talking about Solanke in particular. Those players right down the spine that I think are absolutely key to Spurs playing their best football and having their best chance of a really deep run in that Europa League tournament this season. I say wrap them in cotton wool and only play them in the Europa League games, or a few minutes here and there before to get some rhythm into their legs. But let me know what you think. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Kulic says could be a score draw. Tom Bowdler, thanks for your comment, mate. Says I think Ipswich could move out of the bottom 3 with a win. So I hope Spurs don't underestimate this game. Seen it so many times before. Yeah, I hate to bring it up, but obviously there is the whole Dr. Tottenham narrative. But I'm hopeful because we've got a bit more strength in depth and we've had 2 wins on the spin in the league, albeit a couple of losses in the cups in that time as well. I'm hopeful that we can just get our game together. Got Jed Spence in his right position. He's been playing brilliant football at the moment. They've just cut to him on the pitch there. Be good to see how Destiny Doggy gets used to it as well. And also, and here's the big one, is if we need something different in that second half, Wilson Odobert to come off the bench and provide some genuine pace. Spence is quick. Udogie is quick, but they're kind of quick when they get up to speed. Same with Brennan Johnson. When he's at full pace and the ball's in front of him, he is quick. But in terms of an acceleration pace player, Odobert is the quickest one we've had really since Aaron Lennon, who was one of my favorite players for absolutely years, Aaron Lennon. Nadstar in the comments says, Maddison is average. Hopefully he doesn't play Europa. Well, good thing about football, guys, is it's subjective. I have to say I just don't agree with that whatsoever. I think Maddison, and one of the things I fear today actually is where we're going to miss Maddison, what he was doing against Man United, is coming into that quarterback role and picking the ball off his back 4, picking the ball up off Vicario, helping him out. Kulusevski, who I do love it when he plays in that 8-10 role, but he doesn't really want to come that deep. He stays further up. And so I think there will be a lot of work to be done for Bentancur and Bergvall getting the ball off the centre-backs and off the goalkeeper today. And we will miss Maddison there, I think. Nick in Hong Kong, thank you for your comment, mate. Says, time for consistency starts here. Let's go. Yeah, really hope you're right. Stuart says 2-0 Spurs. Coolidge, again, says, yeah, it's hard playing teams fighting for their lives. Agreed. And obviously, I like to always mention what I describe as the kind of Sky Sports script. If you were going to put bets on, and you were going to put bets on against your team as kind of an emotional cover bet, you'd probably put some money on Delap getting a goal because he's on Spurs' list and who Spurs have been interested for a while and probably will go for a bid for in the summer if bigger teams who will pay more wages don't go in for him. But also look at the script in terms of Jack Clark, who hasn't had a lot of opportunities in the Premier League so far. From what I've seen from a distance, he's been playing mostly off the bench, but a start today. And that doesn't surprise me because I reckon the manager probably saying, you're playing against your old team, the team who didn't give you a chance Kieran McKenna getting into Jack Clark and saying, make yourself a name today and get us 3 points. So that's my fear, the script fear. We're about to kick off. They're on the pitch. It's obviously 3:01, so I do wonder if they've actually kicked off and I'm on a delay. If I'm on a delay and you're watching somewhere and you want to kind of sync up with my timing, then give your screen a pause so that it's exactly right with mine. But we haven't quite kicked off yet on mine. And let me just see if I can find another feed and see which one's best. Looks kind of similar at the moment, to be honest. Tottenham just getting into their huddle, as they like to do under Son Heung-min's captaincy near the away fans. The Ipswich fans making a bit of a racket at the moment. They do enjoy getting the big teams down here. Nahil says, please Spurs, can the team just start some sort of form coming into the City game? Yeah, that would be nice. Over 1,000 of you guys watching concurrently already. Thank you so much for your support. Do press that like button. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, I'm getting closer to 15,000 subscribers on my channel. So come and follow me on YouTube at Barnaby Slater _ as well. Okay, we're about to kick off. Spurs kicking from right to left as we look at it. And that's the kickoff now. Okay, so it looks like I'm about a minute behind, guys, just so you know, as Ipswich break through the middle. And straight away, they're in down the left-hand side with Delap running at Archie Gray. Big chance for Delap here. And Ipswich are going to score, you know. Well, they've just blocked it on the line themselves. What an extraordinary piece of play. Ipswich were in down the left. An offside is given finally. Liam Delap in down the left, fronting up Archie Gray. Hits it across. I think Vicario saves it. And then there's a real chance, 2 real chances for Ipswich kind of on the line. Anyway, so they break out of their own half. Once again, just so easy to run through the middle of midfield of Tottenham. And now Delap's running at Archie Gray. They're just showing the replay here. He has his shot, saved to his right, and then... And quite incredibly, the Ipswich player on the line, I think it might be Smodic, has blocked it from going in. So Vicario saves it, and then they had a chance, and then it comes out. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's an unbelievable double save from Vicario. Unbelievable save on his line from Vicario. Wow. I thought it was Hutchison who kept it off the line. But really worrying, again, how easy it was for Ipswich to just get in straight down the middle of midfield. Really, really embarrassing. And now Spurs start to get the ball down. But could easily have been 1-0 down after 1 minute as Jed Spence tries to play a ball down the line but kicks it off the pitch. We need him to be at his best today, Jed. As Delap runs it down the channel again. And I tell you what, Spence isn't really working hard to help Archie Gray here. And he's in here, Delap again. Oh, and it's gone wide. Wow. Delap showing unbelievable pace and wow, Delap is a real monster. Pace and power. And in the end, actually, Archie Gray just does enough to put him off. Terrible start from Spurs. So Doggy now with the goal kick to Vicario. He plays it into midfield to Spence, who gives it back to Gray quite heavily, but Gray's now got it. It's just being pressed. Plays it into midfield up to Tell, who isn't able to hold it up and then gives away a foul. But it's not given, and Spurs managed to get the ball back with Johnson. And now Bentancur. And Ipswich really showing their high press here, putting Spurs under unbelievable pressure early in this game. But Son plays it down the line. And Udogie takes on his man. And Udogie's getting into the box here. Great stuff from Destiny to the byline. Oh, and the keeper dives at his feet. Wow. We've missed that from Udogie. What a start to this game. What a start to this game. And it was Son who put him in first on the halfway line. Only 3 minutes gone and 3 really good chances. 2 for Ipswich, 1 for Spurs. Nahil saying in the comments, midfield overrun and no urgency from the players. 1,500 of you watching already, guys. Get in the comments if you're watching this alongside this game, which is already basketball. And Ipswich have impressed me already with their high press. But Spurs starting to put their foot on the ball. But that pace of Delap is going to really worry Archie Gray. Archie Gray so far has been kind of on the right-hand side of the two. Yeah, Danso playing on the left-hand side of the two centre-backs. But so far, no sign in this game so far of Bergvall or Kulusevski. As Bergvall then gets involved and Tell does well and is fouled in midfield, does really well. Paul Chisholm in the comments says Spurs need to show some control. I agree. As Archie Gray gets on the ball and lays it outside him to Jed Spence. He plays it down the line into Brennan. Comes back with it. Kind of tackled, but it goes back to Archie Gray. And Ipswich kind of really feeding off the atmosphere at the moment as Kevin Danso is fouled. And the ref didn't give a foul there, and he should. And now Danso's out of position. Surprise there. Ipswich now on the right-hand side with Hutchison, who caused us a lot of trouble in the home game, actually. And Danso has given away a foul on the right, so a chance for Ipswich to get the ball into the box. Amari Hutchison has a lot of pace. So this free kick is wide right, about 23 yards out. Calvin Phillips over. It's going to whip it into the box. Spurs keeping their high line just around the 17, 18-yard box, is it? Yeah, maybe a bit deeper, actually. More like 14 yards. Here it comes. In swinger. He's hit the post from the header, and Spurs have managed to clear. Wow. And actually, Spurs haven't managed to clear. Now an overhead kick goes over the bar. Wow. Just a great delivery from Phillips and such an easy header at the near post. Hits the stanchion, really. And it is Delap again. And Spurs playing themselves into a bit of trouble already with Ipswich's high press. Liam Delap is so up for this. And he's the one that Danso should be on because he has scored 43.5% of all Ipswich's goals this season. So put Danso on him, who's quick and powerful. Don't let Delap kind of move his way over to Archie Gray, who's not even a centre-half. And looking a bit troubled. As Danso takes the goal kick short. Oh, dear. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. Vicario showing his lack of good passing, and Ipswich now have it out at the edge of the box. They're all over us at the moment, Ipswich, and that's a good block for the shot from Destiny. Sonny now has got to find a pass here. Bergvall does well, Bergvall. Sonny, they're pressing us so hard, but now Sonny finds Bentancur, has a little bit of space, and is able to open it up to Archie Gray. Very impressive pressing from Ipswich so far, really putting Spurs in trouble. But you'd think, considering we train against this all the time, we should be able to deal with it. Bentancur plays it across to Danso. Udogie runs away from him. Bentancur now just filling in between his two centre-backs and now runs away from there as he gives it to Spence. Has to turn away. Now Danso to Bergvall, giving him an option. In fact, Phillips pressing Bergvall. So Bergvall goes across to Archie Gray, who again has to come across to Danso. Sonny now getting involved and again gives it back to Danso. Difficult start for this game for Spurs. 7 minutes gone though, and it's still 0-0, and that's good news as Archie Gray plays it out wide. And a bit of space for the first time for Deki Kulusevski, who tries a ball over the top. Oh, and Destiny. Oh, nice idea that. The keeper claimed it in his box just, but good ball. Got to give it to Kieran McKenna. He's got them playing well. Long ball and Delap easily holding off Archie Gray there, and Ipswich nearly in down the left-hand side. Gray does well. Spence does well. Kulusevski helps him out. Oh, and Spence beats his man. Beautifully beats two men. What a player. And then plays a lovely ball into Tell's feet. And he opens it out to Destiny, but it's just a bit of a dodgy pass behind him. But that was lovely from Spence. And what I love about Jed Spence doing that is it will put some doubt in the defenders of Ipswich or the players pressing him as to whether they can press him quite as hard. And that should open up some space elsewhere. As Udogie plays it down the line to Bergvall. Lots of people are calling Berryvale now, but I can't quite say it right because I've got a bit of a defective R, so I'm going to stick with Bergvall. I'm also not Swedish, so I shouldn't be expected to say it in exactly the right Swedish way. Spence down the line. Played it into Johnson, who tried to flick it round the corner to Kulusevski, but Ipswich managed to deal with it. Oh, Ipswich just gave Spurs a little bit of a sniff there. And just play a lovely ball into midfield. But Sonny does really well. Oh, he's given a foul away. I don't think that was a foul in central midfield there. I think he just got his body in a good position and the ref's given it wrongly. But Ipswich not afraid to play little chip balls into central midfield because they know that central midfield is often the area of Tottenham's game where there's lots of space. Oh, well done. Oh, Decky nearly nicked it off the Ipswich defender. Ipswich being forced back a bit by Spurs' press here. Tell is going to press the keeper, although it doesn't press hard and the keeper goes long with it. Spence up for the first header. Obviously, Phillips is everywhere at the moment. I'd heard that Phillips wasn't having a great season at Ipswich, but I'm sure he'll put in his best performance today. As Spurs now look to press Ipswich, and they're forced to go long. Good header from Spence, flicked on. Oh, Kulusevski liked the look of that. Comes back to Bentancur, who gives it back to Archie Gray. Gets it down and finds Danso. And he has Udogie in the little half space to his left, but he doesn't go there. He goes the other side back to Gray, who goes across to Jed Spence. Got some good balance, both sides in the fullback positions today. Although, interestingly, we've all been calling, I have as well, for Porro to get a rest because of how much of the opposition attack goes in behind him. And then the first minute, Jed Spence playing right back, and they're in down that position as well. So Kulusevski there with a poor pass, under no pressure at all. Oh, Tell working really hard there. Oh, and Phillips, like I said, Phillips did really well under pressure. "11 minutes gone, still 0-0. Throw in on the left to Ipswich. They're using the new old Nike ball, the retro Nike Zoom 90, I think it might be, the blue ringed ball, because Nike are losing their Premier League football sponsorship at the end of this season. So they're bringing back one of their old retro classics, and it is a great one, to be fair. Oh, Archie Gray there, just giving a bit of a dodgy ball to Kevin Danso, but he finds Vicario, who turns away from the press and finds Danso, and he needs Udogie to come for him here. Udogie didn't really give him much there, and Danso's had to come down the line on his own. And he's a bit out of position, but Bergvall is there. Bergvall plays a nice ball into Bentancur, gets a good 1-2 back from him. And now to Udogie. And Udogie just using his strength down the line here and gives it to Sonny. Now, can you open your legs, Sonny? He goes to the byline, Son. Does well. Cuts back. Lay it. Bergvall chance. Oh, deflected wide chance at the back stick. Johnson didn't manage to get in there, though. And then Tell gives away a foul in the box. Really good pace from Son down the left. He cut it back to Bergvall, who has a shot. It's blocked by the Ipswich defender, and it just doesn't quite fall for Brennan Johnson at the back stick. Yeah, as the co-commentator said, it's end-to-end stuff at the moment. It certainly is, and Tottenham's starting to show their teeth a little bit down the left-hand side. Udogie looking really fresh, which you haven't seen for quite a long time because he's had a couple of injuries, hasn't he? He had that injury that kept him out of the Euros, and then the injury this season as well. Spence deals with, oh, lovely stuff down central midfield from Spurs. Can he find Bergvall, Spence? Oh, he just goes the wrong way there. And actually, Spence has gone down to his haunches there. Looks like he took a kick. Yeah, he's on his haunches here, Jed Spence. What's happened? I think maybe he got the ball in a in an uncomfortable area in between his legs, perhaps. Yeah. He's just trying to run that one off. I do like this balance of the power of Spence and pace of Spence on the right and Udogie on the left. We're just lacking a tiny bit of balance at centre-back because of Ben Davies not being available and Danso having to play on the left side. Udogie plays it down the line. Oh, beautiful between Udogie and Sonny. And now Udogie is running towards the goal, towards the box, but then he makes a weird decision and Ipswich are able to clear it. But that was beautiful stuff between Udogie and Sonny to put Udogie in. Oh, dearie me. Brennan Johnson didn't come for the ball there. Brennan Johnson's just been booked for absolutely nothing. That's never, ever a booking. They're saying it's a booking because he stopped a counter-attack. Literally in, like, 18-yard box of the opposition. Ridiculous. Ipswich now getting the ball down. They're not shutting up shop in this game by any means, Ipswich. Oh, good tackle from Bentancur in midfield. He chips one over the top towards Johnson. I'm not sure that was the right decision. Yeah, and it goes off for a goal kick. Bentancur's done the hard work there. It's frustrating because intercepting the ball in midfield and getting us back in possession, and then he tries a bit of a paradise ball over the top and it easily goes out for a goal kick. Bit of decision-making there needs to be better in the central midfield from Spurs. Be interesting to see what Tottenham do in the summer in terms of central midfield, because I think there are a few players, at the very least, playing for their future in that position. The Ipswich fans loving this game so far, as you'd expect. Tottenham just need to show a bit of mentality today. Come on. 16 minutes gone. They go with the long goal kick again. It's flicked on and they're in down the left again with the lat. That was too easy. But Spence working really hard. Unbelievable defending from Jed Spence. Knocked the play off the ball, kept the ball and goes down the line. Really great stuff from Spence. Oh, Bergvall does well. Oh, nearly pickpocketed their centre-back. We were nearly in there. And that's better from Archie Gray getting his body in the way so that Jack Clark can't get it. And then getting a foul. Lovely stuff from Archie Gray. Good positional stuff. And he smiles at Jack Clark because they obviously played together at Leeds, didn't they? Danso now. Goes wide to Clark and Bentancur. Just at the moment, sitting in between when we've got the ball. Archie Gray and Kevin Danso. And I don't mind that because, like I said, that's where Maddison would usually be going. And we need that. We need them to take that. We need them to take the ball off the back four there. Danso opens the ball out to Gray, who brings it back this way. Danso again. Plays it in between the lines nicely. But it's, unfortunately, Udogie couldn't hold that up. And the ball comes through and Archie Gray just picked it off beautifully and then plays a lovely ball to Son. What a ball from Archie Gray. Son's now in the box. He's got two defenders around him. He goes to the outside. Now whack it, Sonny. It's a goal! Come on, you Spurs. Is that Brennan Johnson at the back stick? Or is it an own goal? But started from Archie Gray's magnificent defending. Amazing defending to stop a through ball from Gray. And then he plays a dinked through ball over the top to Sonny, who then is fronted up by two defenders. Double step, little step over, gets to the byline, whacks it across the front, as you have to do. And then I think it's Brennan Johnson coming in at the back stick, which, as we know, he is elite at. However, there will be an offside VAR here on Son. Did Son manage to stay onside? Step over, gets to the byline, and it's Brennan Johnson at the back stick. That is what Johnson is so lethal at, getting in at that back stick. And it looks to me, yes, the goal has been given. Love it. 1-0 Tottenham. And I would be very, very surprised if that was the end of the scoring, as Ipswich now get an attack down the right. Philogene lays it back, and Ipswich start again. 19 minutes gone. People slag off Brennan Johnson, but they do not realise how difficult it is to make that timing of that run to the back stick, and he is lethal at it. And now they're in down the right with Hutchison. Ipswich gets the cross in. Free header at the back. Saved straight down Vicario's throat. And we start again with Spence, who comes back to Archie Gray and comes across to Vicario. He's going to need an option here. He has it with Danso, who's going to need an option down the line from Udogi, but Sonny does it instead. Oh, and then tried to play it around the corner to Udogi, and there was too much on it, and now Ipswich have it back. But I've missed some of this good stuff between Son and Udogi down the left-hand side. They're on a good wavelength. Or good ball inside from Ipswich and Delap, and they've chance for Delap outside the box. Deflected wide for a corner. Too much space for Delap. And it's a great deflection wide. Yeah, really important standing up from Archie Gray there. And this is the first corner. And of course, teams, we saw it from Man United last week. Delap is, of course, standing on Vicario. Spence is with him one side. Archie Gray is with him the other. But you know Delap, actually, he goes short Delap, and it's an outswinger. And Son clears the first one. Comes to an Ipswich player, and now I'm buffering, but starts again on. Then a chance for another shot outside the box. Good effort over the bar. Vicario would have had that covered, but Ipswich do make chances, that's for sure. Fair play to them. I think they're being a lot more forward-thinking than they were at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium even, but maybe that was because they got an early goal there. Danso plays it to Vicario. We've already suffered from this once, so Vicario goes with a bit of a longer ball and kicks it straight to Calvin Phillips. What are we doing? Honestly, and now they're in down the right-hand side into the box, but Udogi stands up. And I think that's Kulusevski helping him out. And it is. And then I think he kept that on, Kulusevski. Oh, and the liner says he didn't, but I think he did. Spurs were going to be in then. Interesting to find Kulusevski popping up on the left-hand side there. But this is the thing that all the pundits like to get on Spurs about, is Vicario being made to kind of play passes out of his own box that are easily picked up by the opposition. Oh, and Delap is out muscling Archie Gray pretty easily at the moment. And Danso's come over to help him out. And Danso did well, used his strength there to win a goal kick. Good stuff from Big Kev. So once again, Danso to Vicario, and they're blocking off all the passes. So he's going to need to chip one. And he does this time into Spence. Takes a bit of a heavy touch. And so Gray has to go long. Tell is out jumped, which you wouldn't be surprised at. And then Bentaker into midfield, and Bergvall loses it in midfield. Hutchison now. But Bergvall does really well to get back in. Plays a bit of a dodgy ball to Danso, who's really composed on the ball with a little Cruyff turn, and sets in Udogi down the left, who again is trying to be direct. Plays a beautiful ball to Tell. Maybe could have popped it off first time there, Tell, And he's lost it, Tell. Spurs could have been in there, and instead now Ipswich are coming back at us. And Brennan Johnson working hard backwards. That's good. Keep working, Brennan. Cut back to the edge of the box, and Delap, who has a shot, straight down Vicario's throat. And once again, Vic has the ball at his feet. And Ipswich not really pressing him in his own box, but just standing on the edge of the box. Now Archie Gray put under pressure and he has to go long. Nobody to win that, but they win the second ball with Kulusevski. Johnson tries to help him out, but Spurs have lost it again. Now Ipswich have it in our half. Bergvall not quite in this game as yet. Although he made a mistake a second ago and then did work hard back to retrieve it. Ipswich down the left now. Johnson has to put some effort in there. And here's Jack Clark up against Archie Gray down the left. Spence helps him out. Ball comes into the box, but Bentaker's there. He plays a good ball to Kulusevski in between the lines. And Decky manages to hold it up. Now Johnson needs help. Goes backwards to Spence. Comes across now. We're in our own box with Archie Gray. Danso gives him the option, and then Udogie is calling for Kevin Danso to kind of bring it forward, but he doesn't. So it comes across to Archie Gray. Spurs taking up some interesting positions to try and break the press as we go down the right with Kulusevski, who can't be losing it here. He doesn't. He goes back to Gray. It comes across to Danso. Phillips was covering Bergvall, so Danso took it to the right of him. Comes to Archie Gray. And now we're getting towards the halfway line on the right with Kulusevski, who's not really in this game yet. Gray across to Danso. And now Udogie, who has been in this game for sure. And he plays into Bentancur, who made some good space there. Plays it inside, and Sonny's in the box again. Now Sonny running at his defender at the box again. He's going to have a dig, is he, Son? Or he should have. Chance Spurs. Goal. 2-0. Brennan Johnson with his second. Brilliant stuff from Sonny. That is elite decision-making. And I tell you, you take Spurs on at their own game at your peril, because we just cut them open there. Udogie played it inside to Bentancur. Oh, is Son on side? It's going to be close again. This will be interesting if it gets VAR, hoping that Sonny, with his elite experience, will have timed his run absolutely perfectly. But when he did get into the box, he just waited. That was what was brilliant. He waited for the perfect pass, lays it across to Brennan Johnson, who slots it home with his left foot. And again, it looks to me like it's going to count because they're not VARing it. Ipswich 0, Tottenham 2. Well done, Brennan Johnson. And like I said after the first one, people who slag off Brennan Johnson do not understand how elite he is at finding those positions at the back post. Amazing stuff. So Ipswich, who are making lots and lots of chances against Spurs, but because they're being so open and they're playing so front-footed, Tottenham just picking them off at the moment. Bergvall in midfield plays a good ball to Kulusevski, and Spurs are in again down the left with Son, who's now coming into the box again. On his left foot! Oh, and it's saved at the near post. I have to say, what I said at the beginning of this game is completely wrong. I didn't expect Ipswich to give Son so much space, but yeah, he gets the step over again onto his left foot, and it's saved down to his. It's actually deflected. It's a good save from the keeper. Did not expect our wide men to have this much space, but Ipswich being very kind by playing on the front foot. Here comes the corner from Sonny. It's deep. Punch to the first one, and then Danso gets up for the second one. So Bentancur's going to win the next one. Then it's cleared. Kulusevski, hits the referee with his pass. And so now Tottenham are going to get the ball just outside the box. He's going to give a drop ball, is he? But we had the ball, so he's got to drop it so that Spurs get this. Bit of a weird one there, but Kulusevski was trying to play the ball out wide. Yeah, Spurs had the ball. So now Bergvall gets the drop ball. We're just outside the box. So he plays it out wide to Udogie. Plays it to Son, who's enjoying this at the moment, but he tried a 1 too far there. He was tackled, but it comes to Udogie, who opens it across to Bentancur. And Ipswich now, be interesting to see how they play, because obviously they nearly conceded a third straight away there, and they already look a little deeper. As Archie Gray plays it across to Jed Spence, puts his foot on it, comes back to Gray. opens it out to Danso. I'm loving the positions Destiny Udogie's taking up here. He looks fresh as. Plays it to Sonny. He gives it back to Bergvall. Sonny with his little dancing feet there. That was cute. Half an hour gone nearly. 29 minutes. Spurs 2 up at Portman Road. Danso now. Gives it across to Sonny. He's looking to give a little 1-2-2 Udogie. He tries to nutmeg him actually in the end, the defender. Udogie strong and now... Oh, he nearly put Sonny in again there. But actually Calvin Phillips comes and sweeps up. Oh, and a lovely ball between the lines. And Hutchison, who's a good player, he opens it out to the left back now. Spence puts some pressure on him. That's good pressure from Spence. And it goes all the way back to the goalkeeper. Good stuff from Spurs. Tell's not really in this game at the moment, but he's working hard. Oh, Calvin Phillips there. Being very brave on the ball. He used to be for England. He is fouled in the end there. What a huge amount of stuff happened in this game already. 2 teams determined to play football in an attacking way. Yeah. I mean, this won't be the end of the goals, that's for sure. I said it after 1 and it definitely won't. Oh dear, look. That is classic. And this is why Ipswich won't feel they're out of this game, because they just literally waltzed through Tottenham's midfield. 1 player just beating 4 of our players. Beautiful stuff. Who was that? It was Cajuste. And in the end, unfortunately, unfortunately for him, his pass just goes straight off the pitch. Okay, it's a throw into Spurs. Jed Spence has the ball. Not much movement. Gives it short to Kulusevski, who loses it straight away. Very poor. Now Ipswich just outside the Spurs box. Okay, forced backwards by Bergvall. But that was poor from Decky, who's not in this game at the moment. He seems a bit lost in that kind of 8-10 role at the moment. But Spurs pressing Ipswich all the way back to their keeper through Tell. Good stuff. Now the keeper has to go long. Danso will cut up for the first one. Second hand, well done by Bergvall there. Oh, and Decky, Kulusevski again, really poor. And now Ipswich got 3 men in centre. They're in down the left here because Kulusevski can't hold the ball up. They get an early cross in here to the back of the box. Benteke gets something on it, and then Bergvall doesn't work quite hard enough. But Kulusevski gets back in then and then plays a bit of a dodgy pass back to Danso. What is Kulusevski doing at the moment? His decision-making has been appalling. We've lost the ball again. Spence gets a foot in and then is taken out. And that will allow Spurs to reset a little bit. It's Jack Clark who takes him out. And it's a booking for Jack Clark. Yeah, so Clark, here's the replay. He's over on the ball. Spence has put his foot in. Oh, and then just Clark has trod on Spence's foot. It's a sore one. Looks like a sore one for Jed. Hope he's all right. Just an impact injury, hopefully. Yeah, he seems okay. Now, it's important for Spurs to play smart in the next 13, 14 minutes or so up to half-time. Don't forget, Tottenham. Ipswich need to get something here. They need to come to us. So play the ball around and let them work hard and allow spaces to open up. Archie Gray plays a good ball down the line to Johnson. Oh, he looked for the first time one to Kulusevski. They're looking to create some patterns between them on the right. What a good performance this has been for Brennan Johnson so far. 2 goals. Just because he's elite in terms of his timing of runs and positioning in the box. I'm pleased for him. Spence throws it back to Archie Gray. Lets the ball run round to his left-hand side and plays it across to Big Kev Danso. He's a bit ungainly on the ball, Danso, but he's also good. He did a brilliant Cruyff turn earlier in this game to get out of trouble. Jed Spence on the right now. And this is it. Tottenham don't need to try anything paradisey. Just keep moving the ball around. Keep moving Ipswich around. And don't give them any chances on the transition by doing something too paradisey. 2-0 up in an away game in the Premier League. It's not that regular that happens. As Gray plays it down the right. Good stuff from Johnson. Tries to flick in Decky down the line. And then Decky fouls his man. It's about the 4th or 5th foul from Kulusevski already. His touch has been poor. His decision-making has been poor. He seems like he wants to be on that right-hand side all the time near Brennan Johnson, but I don't know. Why doesn't he just try coming a bit deeper and getting on the ball? A bit like James Maddison would do. Nearly 3,000 of you watching this concurrently at the moment, guys. Thank you so much. Please do press that like button if you haven't already. Please do subscribe to Chris's channel at Chris Cowlin. And also my channel is there in the bottom left at Barnaby Slater _ for regular Tottenham content. Ipswich play the long ball and Delap does well, but Decky better. Comes back there and turns his man. That's better from Decky. And then plays a poor pass. Again, doing the hard work, but the easy stuff not. And then Lucas Bergvall works really hard back there to get the ball back for Spurs. And then runs it down the line. Beautiful from Lucas. Now find an easy ball. And he does. He puts a new doggy down the line, but it's defended well. But that was beautiful from Lucas Bergvall. The best thing he's done in this game so far for sure. Bentancur. Bit of a paradise ball across to Johnson there. Unnecessary from Spurs. And Johnson was offside anyway. Just keep the football. Come on, boys. Come on. Be a free kick to Ipswich. So Ipswich are going to take this free kick for the offside against Brennan Johnson long. They're getting a little bit of joy with Delap winning these long balls, so that's why they're doing this. Delap against Archie Gray is a bit of a no-brainer at the moment, although Gray cleverly did put a bit of a push into Delap's back there, and that worked. Dancer gets involved. He was fouled off the ball there, but it wasn't given, and they're in now. Chance! Goal. Hutchison, who played so well in the first game, and that's exactly what Spurs shouldn't be doing. I thought Dancer was fouled, but it wasn't given. So, headed out from Spence after the long ball. Delap heads it inside. And then Dancer just wasn't really strong enough. Gets Delap in down the left. And then no one follows Hutchison. Cuts it back to Hutchison on his left foot. Really good finish into the far corner, to be fair to him. And the problem is, that just came from a long ball, a long hike down the middle. And Ipswich will know that they can cause Spurs trouble like that all day now. And that's it. 2-1. Poor from Spurs. Dancer just needed to be a bit stronger there. And now Spurs getting themselves in trouble straight away by letting Ipswich just press high. And Dancer does well down the left. He's fouled again. This time the ref does give it. It's just, again, just too easy down the left. And it's Jack Clark who... Is it Clark? Yeah, Jack Clark who cut it back. They've deserved it. They've made enough chances in this game to deserve a goal, but now Spurs are going to have to show what they've got under adversity again, because we've let this crowd get back in the game. Archie Gray plays it across to Jed Spence. Goes back to Gray. It's going to have to go across to Vicario. He plays it first time to Dan, so a bit of a heavy touch. Needs help here, Kevin. Goes to Son. He plays it around the corner, but Tell's not there. And the first time ball is so easy for Ipswich to deal with it, but thankfully Spence was in a bit more of a defensive position than Porro, I think, would have been. And he does well, Jed Spence, and then a heavy touch from Kulusevski. Oh, it's Johnson, actually. But we still got it. Comes back to Vicario. Yeah, the goal has lifted the crowd for sure. Udogi now. Goes back to Danso. He plays a bit of a dodgy ball across to Gray. He has to go backwards, and it comes to Vicario. He has to go long. And Spurs never, ever going to be able to win anything long. Wow, how is that so easy? Just a first-time ball to Jack Clark, and Spence didn't even work on it. Archie Gray gets in a good position, thankfully, and then flicks it back to Spence, who looks tired, actually, weirdly. Plays it up to Tell, who needs to hold this up, and he doesn't. And now Ipswich are in down the left. Mate, this is the Premier League. You're never getting those. Chance again to Hutchison on the edge of the box. Down Vicario's throat. And a Spurs player is down on the floor. Sonny, actually. What happened there? So Doggy played it down the line. Oh, and Son's fouled quite badly by Hutchison. It's not Hutchison, actually. But it should be a booking. Yeah, it is for Ben Godfrey. Spurs need to get this ball down. Danso now. To Vicario. He plays it wide to Archie Gray. Has to come back to Vicario, who's being pressed now. Plays a bit of a dodgy ball to Danso. Plays it down line to Doggy. Spurs under big pressure here, so Danso's going to have to go long, and he does. But it's an easy claim, but actually then Phillips just heads it to Kulusevski. He's going to have to give it easy. Plays another horrible pass, but it does in the end find Johnson. Spence slips over, and it comes back to Archie Gray. Spurs 2-1 up. 39 minutes gone. Udogie plays it wide to Son, who's back on his feet now. Udogie. Spurs' passing is a little bit kind of not in the right place all the time. But anyway, Bergvall gets on it now, plays a good ball between the lines to Bentancur, then inexplicably kind of chips it back to Danso. But he does get it down. Gray. They're just trying to work out space between the lines here, Spurs, and Bergvall has a little bit of space. He's now pressed by Phillips. So he has to turn away and goes back to Danso. We're in our own half here, still Spurs though. And Ipswich kind of pressing in quite a flat 4-4-2. Spence goes down the line. And Johnson just tries to play it down the line and kicks it off. It's going to be an important 5 minutes this before half time now. The Ipswich fans are back in this big time. They're really feeling this. And they go inside. Oh, but well done. Bentancur's read it. And now Spurs running in through central midfield. Bentancur towards the box. Opens his body out. Has a shot. It's saved. And ends up for a corner. Well done, Bentancur. Worth a shot from Bentancur, but I wonder if he could have cut that back. I think Tell had just stopped his run there. But it's a corner for Spurs. It's going to be an outswinger. Second corner of the game. Sonny is taking it. Near post. Oh, Johnson nearly flicks up. It's coming to Tell on the edge of the box. He gets it down. Oh, he wanted to have a shot, but actually he ends up chipping it to the back post for a cross. And then Kulusevski ran away from the ball in midfield inexplicably. And now Ipswich are running forward again. Decky Kulusevski is honestly playing horribly today, in my opinion, so far. But Tell presses Ipswich. They have to pass it across their back four to Ben Johnson on the right now. Sorry, to Ben Godfrey on the right. Well done, Destiny Udogie, though, wins it. And he wins another one. Good strength from Destiny there. Big 50-50 challenge up against Calvin Phillips. Oh, dear. And then Spurs have been weak in midfield, but Kulusevski that time does get involved. Udogie uses his strength well. And Tell is still down. And so Udogie kicks it off the pitch. What happened here to Tell? Oh, it's just a nasty... He's pushed in the air there, Tell. And it's a nasty fall. Hopefully it's not injured his arm that he likes to put a wrapping on. But I read an interview with him where he said that was just from an injury he had about 20 years ago, and now he just wears it for luck. 43 minutes gone. Ipswich 1, Tottenham 2. Chances at both ends. It's a real basketball game. I think some would say it's games like this are the reason why Ange Ball may never work fully in the Premier League to win things, because it's just too open. But can't say it's not fun to watch, but frustrating that we're not 3-0 up rather than just 2-1. There's the obligatory cut to Ed Sheeran on the sidelines. I think he's with Rupert Grint, who's a Spurs fan. Yeah. I don't care about these celebrities. Can we just watch the pitch? Somehow it's an Ipswich throw. I don't really know how. Okay, and then they just play it back to Spurs for a goal kick so that they can put pressure on us. But actually, Vicario stopped it from going for a goal kick there. It's good stuff from him. Vicario then throws it out to Archie Gray as Delap comes across to press him. Gray goes down the line. Good first-time ball to Spence, who takes it really nicely. And then Bentancur plays a horrible pass across central midfield, but Udogie does really well. And then Phillips nicks it off him. And then Bentancur gets in the way. And now a chance for Kulusevski, who's got to hold it up, and he does. And gives it easy. Well done, Decky. That's the best thing he's done so far. As Spence now tries a bit of a Hollywood ball over the top. Oh, it ends up near Son. Can he keep it on? No, he can't. It's a nice idea from Jed Spence, but goes out for a goal kick. Just a few too many times where Spurs are doing Hollywood passes like that, where maybe we could do with just keeping the ball and moving Ipswich about. We're into the added time now, of which there will be 3 minutes. Oh, that's worked out well for Spurs, and Kulusevski finds Son. He's in down the left again, running towards the box here. Come on, Sonny. He's trying to... Why is he doing that? Tries to place into the far corner when there was so much space to his left. Anyway, Kulusevski picks up the rebound now. Comes in narrow to Son. Son has to turn away. I think Son was trying to do his kind of trademark finish there, but the gap wasn't there. Oh, and then Kulusevski again makes the wrong decision, but brilliant from Spence picking it off. And now Tell running towards the box, being pushed off the ball, though. He needs to use some strength here, and he manages to keep it. Well done, Matthias Tell. Brings it back out wide now to Johnson. Spence is inside him. Can someone give him an option here? Spence goes back outside to Johnson, who goes to Tell. Spurs just keeping the ball here. It comes back to Bentancur, who comes to Archie Gray and to Danso. Bogle wanted it, but instead it comes to Destiny Udogie. I don't mind this. Spurs just keeping the ball. As Danso goes all the way across to Bentancur, and Johnson's got some space out wide. And he finally finds him, but he's pressed now by Davis, but it comes back to Bentancur. Lots of movement in the centre midfield from Spence, bizarrely, actually, is coming all the way across the pitch here. And Bentancur kind of taking his place on the right. So Bentancur finds Decky Kulusevski now out wide right. He goes inside to Brennan Johnson. Nice little 1-2, but the return ball from Johnson is quite heavy. And then Kulusevski, he ends up winning a throw, but heavy touch from Decky again. It's a throw for Spurs, although they've been deemed to have taken it too quickly. Johnson is wondering why he's taking the throw. He's calling Jed Spence to take it. Yeah, and Jed Spence finally kind of trots over. Ipswich fans annoyed about that. So Spence throws it to Bentancur. They're in a tight space here, so they turn away and come back towards the halfway line with Archie Gray. He rolls it across to Danso. It's a horrible pass, but Danso gets there and finds Udogie. And that creates a bit of space for Udogie. He gives it to Son. He's pressed hard again by Godfrey. Oof. He's given the foul. Well, he blew for the foul there, the ref, but actually he's put Spurs under massive pressure, trying to play on. That was bizarre. What's the ref doing? You don't play on if you're fouled, but you're playing the ball backwards. It's just poor refereeing there. And we're into the last 10 seconds of this. I don't think Spurs will have time to make a chance here. Of course, you'd be happy at being 2-1 up at half-time away from home, but disappointing the way that we've given away a stupid goal. And that is half-time. So, Ipswich 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2. A real basketball game. I mean, I guess... I don't know, I was going to say you wouldn't expect anything different. However, I kind of thought Ipswich would play more like they did at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where they kind of got a goal and then really just played very organised. And maybe that's what Ipswich were hoping to do, like really come out on the front foot and get the goal. But instead, it was Spurs who got the goal. Over 3,200 of you watching concurrently, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Please do press that like button if you haven't already. The more likes we get, the more Tottenham fans this will be pushed to in their suggested videos. Also, please do subscribe to Chris's channel if you haven't already. That's at Chris Cowlin. And you can see my channel there as well at the bottom left for daily Tottenham content, youtube.com/at Barnaby Slater _. So let's go through what happened in that game. Really, so much stuff. In the very first few seconds of the game, Vicario had to make a massive double save as once again, Tottenham just showed their absolute inability to defend down the right-hand side, down our own right-hand side. And Liam Delap got in down the left. He takes his shot. Half-decent save from Vicario to his left. Comes back out for a shot at goal. And then between Vicario and the Ipswich striker on the line, they managed to save it. Very close, but a really important save. Stopped it from that rebound on the line. Then in the second minute, Delap was in again, has a shot that's just wide. He was in that kind of inside left channel again, and his pace beat Archie Gray so easily running into the box. He is really powerful, Liam Delap, and has a turn of pace as well. Gray, just in the end, as Delap was shooting, did enough to kind of put him off, and he placed his shot just wide. Then in the third minute, Spurs got their first bit of play. Udogie with an amazing run all the way to the byline down the left-hand side after some really good stuff, a little 1-2 with a back heel. Between him and Son Heung-min, who's had a good half, by the way. Then in the 5th minute, Ipswich hit the stanchion of the post and bar from a header from a free kick. The free kick was from the right, whipped in. Delap, of course, gets to it first at the front post, flicks it on. And it really was like time stood still as everybody on the pitch just watched it kind of land on the stanchion and then bounce back out. 8th minute, good ball from Deki Kulusevski over the top, and Destiny Udogie was nearly in as a result, but it just skidded through to the goalkeeper. And that was just after something that's happened a few times. Ipswich pressing Spurs very impressively, especially when Vicario has the ball. And they're kind of pressing all of the options that he has with his passes. So he's having to play dangerous passes into midfield. And in that first 20 minutes especially, Ipswich were just picking off those passes. 9th minute, the first lovely bit of stuff from Jed Spence. The press was hard on him as it had been in that first 10 minutes. So he just drops a shoulder and beat 2 men. And since that happened, actually, Ipswich haven't really been able or willing to press Spence quite as high up, and as a result he's had more space. 12th minute, Sonny showed some pace down the left, got to the byline, cut it back to Bergvall, whose shot was blocked, and the rebound didn't quite fall for Brennan Johnson, but that was a little bit of a shot across the bows from Spurs, because after that it was all about Sonny down the left and Brennan Johnson at the back stick. 14th minute, beautiful stuff between Sonny and Udogie again, led to nothing but really good stuff. Brennan Johnson got a booking for very little in the 14th minute as well. Amazing defending in the 16th minute from Jed Spence, stopped the one-on-one down in the inside left channel. Not only did he get his body in the way, but he also kept the ball as well. And then the opener in the 17th minute. Amazing defending actually from Archie Gray, stopped a through ball that could have caused Spurs real trouble. He intercepted it, and then he played a beautiful ball over the top to Son Heung-min, who's in down the left, and he gets to the byline and whacks it across the front. And who's there at the back stick? But Brennan Johnson doing Brennan Johnson things. Goal given. It looked like it might be close to offside, but it wasn't. 19th minute then, cross from the right from Ipswich, and a header came, I think, from Delap straight down Vicario's throat. 20th minute, another shot for Delap from outside the box. Far too much space for him, and that was deflected wide, well defended by Archie Gray. And then from the resulting corner, they had another shot from outside the box that was over the bar. 21st minute, I've made a note here again that twice Vic has had to play bad passes out that have been intercepted, because Delap is trying to pinpoint Archie Gray at all times, trying to use his physical strength to outmuscle Archie Gray to get in the right positions to stop him from getting the ball. 23rd minute, something that's happened a few times this half, Tell up front, unable to hold the ball up in the 9 position. That's where we really missed Dominic Solanke. And as a result, a transition led to a shot from Delap that went down Vicario's throat. And then the 25th minute was the second goal for Spurs. And I've written here, Sonny, brilliant down the left. Again, just got to the byline, and this time he doesn't panic. He waits, gets his head up, and just plays the perfect pass for Brennan Johnson, who sweeps it home with his left foot. 2-0 Tottenham in the 25th minute. I'm just going to pause for a second because they're showing a replay here from Arsenal in the 43rd minute, who are playing at home to West Ham, and it's Wan-Bissaka running down the right as he approaches the box. He's fronting up Calafiori, chips it in, and an easy header in the middle of the box. Poor defending from Arsenal. Not often you say that. And it's Jared Bowen making a late run. And that is West Ham 1-0 up at Arsenal at half-time. Anyway, back to the Spurs first half. 27th minute, huge chance straight after that goal for Sonny down the left. He's had so much space down the left. He uses a step over, gets onto his left foot. You're expecting him to hit it into the bottom right-hand corner, but he didn't quite get hold of it. And it was saved at the near post. 31st minute, I've made a little bit of a note here just saying I found Decky Kulusevski to have not played well at all so far. Bad touch, bad decision-making. Jack Clark was also booked in that 31st minute. 34th minute, great stuff from Bergvall down the left-hand side. And then the 35th minute is when Ipswich got their goal. Really good finish from Hutchison, who played so well in the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, didn't he? But it was Jack Clark who got in down the left-hand side, cuts it back and swept home beautifully by Hutchison, who looks like a really good player. 38th minute, again, Tell unable to hold it up, ends up in a shot for Hutchison that went straight at Vicario. And then in the 41st minute, Bentancur had a shot saved after he did really well to anticipate a pass in midfield and then drove into the inside right channel in the box and tries to hit the shot into the bottom left-hand corner. It's saved and goes out for a corner. And then just in added time, a chance for Sonny on the left, but his shot was blocked. So let's get into the comments. They're just showing me replays of some of the other goals. Bournemouth actually have had a man sent off at home and they're 1-0 down. Yeti in the comments says, Tappin Johnson playing well. Scribble Scrabble says, agree Barnaby Kulu needs to be subbed. I don't know if he needs to be subbed. He just needs to get in some positions where he'll get a bit more space. I said it at the beginning of the game. The thing that I felt we'd missed from Maddison is just him coming deep to pick the ball up off his centre halves. Kulusevski not really trying to do that. And as a result, every time he gets the ball, which is pretty rarely, he's either on the right flank, kind of getting close to Brennan Johnson, or he's under real pressure in that kind of 10 role. So if he comes deep and gets on the ball, he'll get a bit more rhythm to his game. But at the moment, it's kind of bouncing off him a little bit. Phil C says, early days right now. I'm not sure if Tell and the Prem are a good fit. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think he's a classic number 9, that's for sure. Charles Preston says, this is our best starting 11 minus Solanke and Van de Ven. You think Romero isn't in our best starting 11? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Also, Charles says, Maddison will come on when everyone is leggy in the opposition end. Patch, thank you for your comments. Sonny's pass to Udogie was a snapshot of intuitive genius. And TSOM says, Tappin Johnson is a centre forward, not a winger. I don't agree with that. I think because he is elite at making that late run all the way from wide right, that doesn't mean that he would be elite at making that run from the 9 position where there's less space to run into. I really don't think so. Aniconic Arden says, Tell appears to be too selfish, hogs the ball, and looks like he only cares about himself. I haven't really seen that, I wouldn't say. I think he's just looking for an extra touch on it. He hasn't played a lot of football this season, and he's not used to playing in the number 9 in the Premier League where, you know, basically in every league he's played in before, if you get a touch from behind, you go down. Whereas in the Premier League, you don't get given those free kicks. And that's where he's suffered so far. Just an inability to hold the ball up in that 9 position with his back to goal. Needs to work on that. Reese Riggs says Lolo has been average. I think Bentancur's been okay, but I'd say not great for sure. Vitolu says Kulu and Tell are struggling. Sub them. Let's see what happens. I don't think realistically they'll be subbed quite yet. Gardu, thank you for your comment, mate. Says players with huge season mileage and legs will have 20 or so minute bursts, maybe per half during this more restful fixture period. Son was electric but faded. To be expected, he'll be fine eventually. I think Sonny has had one of his better games in a long, long time today. Yeah, he's been impressive, I have to say. Charles Preston says, let's get Delap in the summer. What a beast. Yeah. Listen, I have to say, I think Delap is probably out of our range, unfortunately. But he looks like a real player. And if I was Thomas Tuchel, I'd be having him in my squad for sure. Looks like a real player. Can pop it about, holds it up well, good in the air, and with a turn of pace as well, and clearly a good finisher. TSOM said, not a bad half. Sonny caused him a lot of trouble. We've been ineffective on the right. Bergvall doing okay, doing very well, you said. A little shaky at the back, Danso should be right centre-back, not left. Yeah, but I think be a bit unfair to put Archie Gray at left centre-back, wouldn't it? He's not even a centre-back. Vito Danu says, Sonny got 2 assists, and some people still say he's done and we need to sell him. SMH, yeah, I've never said we need to sell him. What I've said is we need to manage his minutes, and it looks like he's benefiting certainly from having a bit more of a rest, but also from playing a team who are really coming at Spurs today, which I didn't expect. But it's working for them. They've made a lot, and I mean a lot of chances. Yeah, I think they deserve at least their goal. Ipswich, but maybe they deserve to be level. Let's see what new comments we've got here. Charles says Archie Gray gets better with every gameplay. Yeah, he's a good player. TSOM, good point. Can't wait to see Odebear get on. That's the other thing worth thinking about. We have a lot of depth on the bench to bring things, to make changes if needed. So I think I just want to see us like moving the ball around, make Ipswich kind of get themselves out of their shape and make burst to try and win the ball back and hopefully play the ball around them and find some more space like we did when Bentancur read that pass and drove into central midfield into their box. Charles says Odebear and Maddison will come on. Lane Onto says Kulu and Son need to rest. Declan Littleford, thanks for your comment, mate. Says, I feel bad for Tell. Our strikers really struggle to get the ball. Yeah, I mean, Solanke was doing amazingly at that in the first, half of this season. He's properly elite at that, but Tell is not the physical beast that Solanke is. Just before we get into the second half, guys, I'll remind you about what is coming for the rest of the afternoon and evening here on Chris's channel. I'll be doing the second half of this watch along, of course, and then I'll do an instant match reaction video after that. From there, we will doing the fan show where Tottenham fans from all around the world will be calling in and speaking to me about their thoughts on today's show. And then at 6 o'clock, Chris will be back with the Spurs Chat podcast. And today he will be joined by Ricky Norwood, Mike Apps, and Johnny Bow. So all of your Tottenham content needs sorted for the rest of the afternoon on Chris's channel. Let's hope it can be 3 wins in a row. It's a very, very open game. You would think that Tottenham should make a lot of chances as Ipswich still come at us, but if Ipswich get the next goal, their crowd are already really enjoying this game, and you can totally imagine them getting really, really, really behind them if they got the next goal. So next goal is going to be all important. And hopefully Spurs can find a way to get some chances to Tell, because he's not really had any chances as yet. Diesamax says in the comments, Spurs will win 5-2. Johnson knows the importance of hanging out the back post in Angie's style. Lots of sweaties on offer. I don't really know what that means. What are sweaties? But yes, 5-2 would be lovely. M asks, where is Ben Davis? Reports this morning that he got a little bit of a knock, as did Pat Matissar and James Maddison. Maddison and Sarr are on the bench, but Ben Davis isn't. We do miss his balance, that's for sure. Lots of comments about my haircut. Thank you for being so interested, guys. I really appreciate it. Not much to say, really, other than I hadn't had a haircut in probably like 9 months, and I needed it. Let's be fair. Becca's the lad says, do you think that Gray should make the England squad? It's a bit early for that, I think. But certainly going forward, the ability for him to play in so many positions, I think, would only benefit Thomas Tuchel and England. Rubayet says, hi, Barnaby, what is your view on Delap? Do you think Tottenham should go for him in the summer? Yeah, I like him a lot, but I think bigger teams will go for him. And also, don't forget, he came from Man City, and they have a buyback clause on Liam Delap, I believe. So they will have first dibs. But he'd be mad to go there, wouldn't he? Because big Erling Haaland has just signed a 10-year deal. But I'd fancy... I mean, listen, Haaland is obviously an elite finisher. But in terms of what else he does in the game, he doesn't really get involved. Whereas I've been very impressed with Delap's movement, his ability to hold the ball up, him winning the ball in the air. He's purposely pulling onto Archie Gray, and it's smart, because Archie Gray isn't a centre-back and he's not nearly as big as him. And Tottenham need to be a bit more clever, I think. And maybe Anne should say to Dan, so you pick up Delap, and whether he's right or left, you go and pick him up and let Archie Gray swap with you. So let's see what happens in this second half. Listen, what would be great is if we could get the first one, get another one, and just make it easy for ourselves. You've got to hope that Ipswich, they've had to put in a lot of work this half already. Hopefully they will tire. We can bring on the likes of Maddison and Odebear and players off the bench to get into the game. Charles asks, Barney, why can't Spurs go for Delap? Well, we can do, but it just seems unlikely to me that we're going to spend 70-odd million pounds on another striker. But I'd like us to. If we could get money for Richarlison from Saudi, then I would like to, for sure, get Delap in. But I think other teams will be looking at him. I mean, if you think about Liverpool are kind of short a proper number 9, aren't they? And if Salah is leaving this summer, then they'll have money to spend, not from money they get for him because it'll be on a free, but they will certainly have to they'll have to invest. And Nunes is missing chances. So you could see Delap going there. You could see Man United being interested in a Delap if they're allowed to find a way to spend any money in the summer. I'd like to think that Tottenham would be up for him as well, but I don't know. I think he'd be able to probably get wages elsewhere, but hopefully I'm wrong. I'm going to go to Twitter and see what people are saying there. Spurs Talk Show says, cracking first 45. Sonny and Udogie superb down the left. I agree with that. Johnson doing what Johnson does so well, and I agree with that as well. Jed Spence once again balanced in attack and defence. Interesting usage of one of the midfielders sitting in the back line when we have the ball to sometimes make a 3. Right? I referenced that, didn't I? It kind of reminds me of the Poch days when Eric Dyer used to do that in the kind of first successful Poch season. Dyer used to come and sit in from defensive midfielders when we had the ball. Spurs Talk Show goes on to say, concerns for me lay with the midfielders off the ball in transition. It's almost like they're waiting for someone else to win the ball back so they can all break on the counter. In so doing, they often abdicate their positional responsibilities, expecting a breakaway. You have to win the ball back first. When we don't, that's why Ipswich had about 8 chances of varying XG. All in all, a cracking game and finally poised for what to come. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All really good points. Okay, we're about to kick off the second half. Ipswich kicking from right to left, of course. M says in the comments, impressed by Archie, looks like a school kid, but still handles himself so well. Yeah, Ipswich just lay it back and go long straight away. And I think that is something we're going to see a lot of this half because they got their goal from going long, didn't they? And they know that Delap can out-jump Archie Gray, who gets the ball down and gives it across to Vicario, who lays it to Destiny Udogie on the left-hand side. He goes down the line into Son. He plays a beautiful little flick to Udogie, who is fouled. And I love so far Udogie and Son's link up down the left. Archie Gray given a bit of a dodgy ball from Danso, but Danso gets it back. He's looking for a ball here. He goes inside to Udogie, goes down the line to Son, who lays it to Danso, goes back to Son. Good stuff from Spurs down the left here. Oh, and Sonny tried to play it inside to Tell, didn't quite get it. Oh, that was a shame. It's cleared now by Ipswich. Oh, bad header from Danso, picked off by Calvin Phillips, but good stuff from Udogie. Wins it off Phillips and gives it to Son, and Spurs have the ball again. Ipswich have made a change at half-time. I'll try and work out exactly what that is. As Bentaker gets on the ball and gives it to Archie Gray, who finds Jed Spence on the right. He goes down the line. Good stuff. Kulusevski now on the ball. Goes back to Johnson, who lays it inside, and Spurs keep it again nicely. Danso now to Bergvall in that little half space. He goes wide to Doggy, comes in narrow, goes back to Big Kev Danso. It's been a decent first minute or so. Certainly the first minute and a half or so of the second half, much better than the first minute and a half of the first half, where Spurs gave up 2 chances. Son down the left now to Bergvall. Back to Doggy, who's looked incredibly sharp considering it's his first game for so long. Very impressed with him so far in this game. Archie Gray now lays it out wide right to Johnson. He has to come back. Gray being put under pressure by Delap, so he goes to Danso, who opens his body out and finds Udogie. Spurs being pressed all the way back here, but looking to move Ipswich around. Comes to Gray. Puts his foot on it and goes across left again to Danso. Goes down the line to Son. And he has to go back to Bentancur, who, like we said there, just filling in between the two of them when we have the ball. And Archie Gray just plays it a little bit behind Jed Spence, so he has to go back to him. That's something I've been a bit disappointed with Spurs at this game, just some kind of overly safe passing rather than playing it in front of the men. But Danso finds Udogie, comes in narrow and gives it to Bergvall. Thought he was going to take it on the half turn, but he didn't. He went back to Danso. And now Archie Gray. Jed Spence. Gray drops off for him. Spurs just moving Ipswich around. It's a bit calmer so far at the beginning of this game, this half, sorry. Ipswich not pressing quite as high or as strenuously. Good ball there to Jed Spence from Archie Gray, and now Spence opening his legs a little bit, looking for Bentaker inside. He lays it back to Dan, so he could maybe have gone first time to Bergvall there, but he didn't, and now Udogie, and Sonny has some space down the left. This has been worked really nicely from Spurs. Oh, and then a poor ball from Son, trying to find Udogie down the line, goes off for a goal kick. Yeah, and Sonny looks gutted with that. Spurs had kept the ball for a long time. Into the 49th minute. And so Spurs, now that the Ipswich keeper is just going to go long. Shows a little bit of how Kieran McKenna likes to mix things up. He's kind of known as a passing front-footed manager, but he's not afraid to mix it up with his keeper Palmer just going long, looking for Delap's head each time. And that is how they scored their goal. So Spurs have to watch out for it. Bentancur rose with Delap this time and did well. He loses it in midfield and it gets flicked over the top to Doggy. It's going to go back to Vicario. And Vic's got some time on the ball. And the play is stopped for a head injury here in midfield for an Ipswich player. Looks like he got fouled by his own teammate there. Oh no, it's Bentancur. Landed on his foot when falling over, actually. It's Kajust who was injured. He's just kind of limping that off. I'd like to see more from Kulusevski in this half at the moment. He's not really been in the game much. The ball has been dropped at Vicario's feet, who's being pressed by Delap. So he goes wide first time to, oh dear. And well, Spurs playing good football down the left now, and the Ipswich player's gone down, but Spurs carrying on, and rightly so. Bergvall takes it on the half turn and opens it out to Kulusevski, who does have space now down the right. Spence is going with him. Johnson's with him too. They're all too close to each other here, but Spence is now at the byline. How's your cross? No, he tries to cut it back, Spence, and actually should have gone across the middle of the box. But Ipswich hack it out, and this is going to be a throw into Spurs. Yeah, Danso does well. And now we're throwing to Spurs, and Ipswich will use it to take Kajust off, I think, who hasn't recovered from that injury where... very unlucky one where Bentancur fell on him. McKenna just using this break in play to have a chat with Liam Delap. Ipswich are going to bring another player on. Come on, Tottenham. "52 minutes. I think this little break in play will probably help Ipswich because Spurs were dominating this first 5 minutes or so, 6 minutes or so of the second half. Just kind of popping it about. It wasn't as frantic as it was in that first half. So let's see what happens from here. Okay. Goal kick to Ipswich after Spurs had the throw and just given it away a bit too easily there. Ipswich taking their time with the goal kick, and looks like Spurs' press means that they're just going to go long. Spurs only really pressing with 2 players, whereas when Spurs have the goal kick, Ipswich kind of have 4 players lurking on the edge of the 18-yard box looking to get Vicario into trouble. But Palmer now with the long one again, presumably up towards Delap. This time Kulusevski drops off him. Gray wins the second ball. That's good stuff. And Spurs win a free kick in central midfield. I think it was a foul on Archie Gray. Just showing Archie Gray. It'd be interesting to see where Archie Gray comes in the nominations for Young Player of the Year. Because he really has been incredible for his age. 18 years old, playing out of position all season. And putting in regular 7 and 8s out of 10. Anyway, Bentancur still sitting in between Gray and Danso when we have the ball, and some space now for Kulusevski on the right. Plays it inside to Johnson. He plays it to Spence. Good stuff down the right from Spurs here. Spence turns away. Just lost his balance a little bit. And we have to start again with Gray. It goes across to Danso. Again, a bit of a dodgy pass. Danso plays it nicely in between the lines into midfield, though, to Spence. And now Gray. Good ball into Kulusevski from Gray, who goes down the line to Tell, who's a willing runner down the channel. Needs to hold this up, Tell. And he turns out well. Now give it easy, Matthias. Oh, he's looking, yeah, that's good stuff. He came in narrow well and eventually finds Danso, who cuts inside. He's going to have a dig here, is he, Kevin Danso? No, he doesn't. He opens it up. And in the end, he should have had a dig because his pass goes off for a goal kick. That's a shame. Good football there, though, from Spurs down the right. That was probably the best bit of play from Decky, just getting involved. The stuff there between Decky, Tell, and Spence on the right. Another goal kick for Ipswich, and Palmer just pushing them up to go long again. Well, actually, this time Palmer goes with a little chipped ball to his fullback, and Brennan Johnson putting them under pressure. Probably going to have to whack this long, I would have thought. Well, they haven't, and they've played it straight to Decky Kulusevski, who plays a weird ball over the top into the box, and that was easily claimed by the keeper. I think that's the kind of ball, he's just kind of volleyed it up in the air, and it's kind of the ball, if Solanke was playing, that would probably work, because he can use his strength to hold them off, but Tell doesn't have that strength up against big Premier League centre-halves. And McKenna wasn't happy with that, but it looks like he is calling for them to play it short a bit more, and that's calling Spurs on a little bit. Bentancur wins a header there in midfield. It's a poor header back down the right now. Bergvall wins the ball. I thought he'd fouled him there, but he won it, Bergvall. Well done in midfield, and then plays, wow, a very strange ball all the way across, and Vicario is under pressure then, and he plays a horrible ball to Spence. What are we doing? They're in down the left now. This is the most bizarre defending from Spurs. And thankfully, Bentancur did the right thing and was in the right position, but he's now passed awfully, and now Clark's in down the left again. Very bizarre period of play, just calling Ipswich on here. Just a bit lazy from Spurs. Very odd. Ipswich just popping it about now. It's given them a bit of confidence. And the ball played over the top of Archie Gray. Leif Davis, the fullback, is chasing it. Don't foul him here, Archie. And he didn't. Oh no, the ref's given it as a foul. Never ever a foul in the corner there. Never ever. Really cheap from Archie Gray there. He's been conned. So this will be kind of the equivalent of a corner for Ipswich. It's right by the corner flag. Chance for them to get bodies in the box. Bit of naive defending there from Archie Gray just after I've bigged him up. And there's a huddle in the box from Delap and O'Shea and Wolfenden. Oh dear. This is called the Ipswich crowd are up for this now. They know this is a good opportunity here. Davids is going to take the outswinging corner. Spurs not great at marking in the air, to say the least. And it's Kulusevski and Spence standing around Delap, and they're going to have to use their bodies here and be strong. Refs getting involved, obviously. Just fucking play the game. Come on. Here we go. It's a deep one. Oh, really well cleared at the back post. Comes to Ipswich players on the edge. And Spurs force them backwards to the halfway line. And Calvin Phillips slips. Oh, and he gets away with it. But can Johnson get on it? He can, and then he's pushed over. And the ref doesn't give anything. Honestly, we were in there if Johnson isn't pushed over. That's mad. But Johnson didn't really appeal for it, so maybe he didn't feel there was much there. And now Ipswich have a transition with Hutchison. And they're in out the wide right. Udogie fronting his man up. He comes narrow. Oh, now the ref does give a foul to them just outside the box. Spurs are being bananas at this point. I feel like Spurs are letting the crowd get to them here. Not playing smart. Well, I did think Spurs were nearly in with Brennan Johnson there. Anyway, this is going to be a real chance. It's, what is it, about 23 yards out? Vicario lining up his wall. Looks like Calvin Phillips is interested in it. Yeah, it's a really good distance out, this. So in the wall, he's got Bergvall. He's got 5-man wall. Danso's in it. I'd have some taller men in there. He's got Bergvall in there. Come on. So he's got Gray, Danso, Bergvall, and Udogie with... Can't quite see who it is doing the lying on the floor thing. But I think it'll be Hutchison, actually, the left footer, who'll probably go for this, who's really His auditions for it's Kulusevski as the draft excluder. Hudson's played so well in his 2 matches against Spurs so far. Here it comes over the bar. Oh, it's hit the wall. Sorry, and then a shot blocked. Chance for a cross to come in. It's a good cross to the back post. Oh, are they free at the back post? It's a goal. Every single time I do a watch along, I'm laughing because every time I do a watch along, I'm like, oh, he's offside. How lucky are we? Let's see what happens here. But I was laughing anyway because every time I do a watch along, are Spurs going to learn to defend the back post today? Yeah, he is offside. So lucky. Just so easy. Cross came in, totally free at the back post, heads it in. But we get away with it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys. Is it like every club doesn't defend their back stick at all? I just feel like Spurs concede so many goals from that. Vicario just kicks the ball long and it's easily won in midfield. Spurs are just being bonkers at the moment. Well done in midfield from Decky. Picks it up well. Delap's gone down, but he's actually okay. And Spence puts his foot on it. Come on, boys. We're winning this game. Just put your foot on it and make them come to us. Udogi. Lice does well down the inside. Gives it to Son. And makes a run for him, but Son doesn't go for it. So comes inside to Bergvall. I wouldn't mind Maddison coming on quite soon to start putting his foot on the ball. Spurs put under pressure here all the way back to Vic. Oh, plays a horrible ball to Bentancur, but he does really well and opens it out to Udogi. And Ipswich have got 4 men at court ahead of the ball now. And Udogi plays it to Bergvall nicely. He has to run around Udogi. Bergvall, good little break here lovely from Lucas Bergvall. Dropped his shoulder a couple of times and plays a great ball to Decky. He's on the edge of the box. Who puts in Johnson hat-trick? Oh, blocked. What a move from Spurs. Brilliant from Bergvall. And that was the best bit of football from Spurs all half. Beautiful down the left. Bergvall dropped his shoulder twice, beating Ipswich players. Plays the ball across to Kulusevski on the edge of the box. Opens it out to Johnson. I thought it was going to be his hat-trick, just hitting it into the far corner, but good defending stops it. 62 minutes gone. That would have been massive for Spurs. Here comes the corner. Oh, what's the ref given here? He's asked for the corner to be taken again, I think. Just for some physical marking in the box. I just think it's laughable at the top level that in this day and age, referees can't get hold of stuff like this. Just, it's easy. Just start a season by giving penalties and it will stop straight away. Anyway, here comes the corner again. Archie Gray getting pushed over. Sonny's going to outswing it. Here it comes. Oh, it comes to the near post. Oh, Bergvall could have maybe gone down there. Oh, Bergvall. Oh, he tried to slip in Kevin Danso, who just got completely shoulder barged off the ball there by O'Shea. No, you won't get that, Danso, unfortunately. You'll never, ever get that. It was off the ball, but you'll never, ever get it. Basically, Danso was running towards the byline, the touchline to go towards the ball, and he's absolutely just barged off the ball madly by the Ipswich defender, but they'll never, ever turn this round. He wasn't going to get the ball as well, which doesn't help, but it's dangerous from the defender, but you'll never get that. But he does look at him, and he does do it on purpose. It's completely bizarre. Anywhere else on the pitch, it would be given as a free kick, but he won't get it. No chance. And now the subs, Maddison and Porro. And Johnson's coming off. Kind of surprised, but I guess he has been injured. And Udogi, who I think has been excellent. Really pleased with his performance. And hopefully Madders will now just come and get on the ball a little bit and allow us to control the game a little. As Decky Kulusevski goes to the right-hand side. That was some of Bergvall's best play in that, for the one where we nearly got Johnson's hat-trick. His best play kind of driving forward with the ball, maybe of his entire Spurs career. Really good stuff. Bit of head tennis in midfield here. As Bentancur lets the ball drop, but Danso helps him out. That was good. And then Bentancur is fouled. Good stuff in central midfield. Delap just putting himself about. He's a good player. He's a beast. He is a beast. You'd love him to be playing for your club, that's for sure. Proper old school, but also with a touch of class about him. And then, yeah, really getting involved in a scrap with Bentancur. He won't mind that, to be fair. 65 minutes gone. As I said at half-time, still the case. The next goal will be everything in this game. Spence, of course, has moved across to left back, with Porro coming in at right back. Maddison tries the ball over the top. Oh, lovely touch from Son. And that is... Oh my God, he's given an Ipswich throw in there. I really don't know how. Son's gone mad. Anyway, don't worry, Sonny. It was a beautiful ball from Maddison and then a great touch from Son. Kicked off the pitch by the Ipswich defender, but given for Ipswich as a throw. Goes down the line. Flicked on. Bentancur again in a good position. Gets it back. Inside to Bergvall. Beautiful from Bergvall. Put his foot on it. And now we're in down the left with Sonny. Might try an early cross. Doesn't. Cuts back. He's fouled, but not given. He's fouled again, and it is given. Okay, good opportunity for Spurs to swing in a free kick here. It's a foul on the wide left in Sonny's area. It's from Hutchison. Come on, Spurs. Let's get a goal. Come on. Madder's standing over it now. Odebear still hasn't come on, of course. Guess maybe he'll come on for Son, maybe the last 10 minutes. They want to be careful with him, of course, because he had a pretty bad, I think it was his hamstring, wasn't it? Certainly a muscle injury, had an operation. Okay, Madders, your free kick. Let's have a good one. Make it difficult for them. It's in swinging towards the keeper. They've got lots of big players, Ipswich. Here it comes. Puts a lot of pace on it. Straight down the keeper's throat, unfortunately. No one was around him either, so it was an easy claim for Palmer, who rolls it out into central midfield. Now Ipswich looking to go long over the Tottenham's high back line. Delap has tripped over Archie Gray. And the ref kind of tempted not to give it, but does give it. Gray got his body in a good position there. Actually, Porro gave him a bump first. It was quite clever defending from Pedro there. Strangely, Delap actually looks a lot like my nephew Charlie. Jack Clark has come off now. He got his assist earlier in the game. On comes Broadhead. Just over 20 minutes to go. As ever, Tottenham not making this easy. Vicario goes with a long goal kick, not goal kick, free kick there up towards Madders. But he's not able to keep it, but bounces down to Spence. Turns away well, and he'll find Sonny. Madders is inside him, but he doesn't find him. Sonny just keeps the ball for a little bit. Try and win a corner or something here, Sonny, I think. And he does win a corner. Really good stuff from Son. Definitely his best game in a while. Well, they've taken it quickly. Here it comes to Son on the edge of the box. He turns Phillips, but Phillips got his body in the way well. And now it comes back to Madders. Oh, turns again down the left, Madders. Comes back to Spence. Very tight area here down the left-hand side. And Spurs still have the ball. Comes to Spence in that little half space where he loves it. He takes his man on and then keeps it. Comes back to Maddison, to Bergvall, back to Maddison. Now to Spence. And they're just moving Ipswich around now. Don't mind this. Bergvall with a good little Scott Parker turn there. Finds Madders down the left, who tried to find Bergvall with an outside of the boot ball, and it's intercepted. And now there's a transition. And Hutchison finds it all the way across to Leif Davis on the left-hand side. Just a bit of an unnecessary paradise ball from James Maddison there. And Ipswich have it on the halfway line. And they start to pop it about now. And it comes to the wide right. And Sonny's got to go and help his man out there. He's not getting there yet. And now an easy cross comes in. Cleared at the front stick from Danso. And Ipswich now popping the ball about. Tell isn't in this game at the moment, I have to say, and he looks tired. I would be tempted to bring Odebear maybe on for Tell and put Sonny up front, I have to say. He's not in this game at all, Tell. "20 minutes to go." Spence throws it to Madders, goes back to Spence, who's under a lot of pressure here. He's fouled from behind, but the ref doesn't give it, and Spence is still on the floor, and Ipswich have it now coming towards the box. Bergvall did well twice. Brilliant from Bergvall twice, and now the ball comes to Decky. He can't lose it, and he does lose it. Too many times in this game from Decky there. We needed to put our foot on the ball, and now Ipswich have a transition again with Hutchinson down the right. They're in at the byline now down the right, Ipswich. The cross comes into the back post. They've got two men there. Oh, we've let the ball bounce. Inexplicably, we let the ball bounce there. That's a terrible foul on Tell. Not given. Ipswich have it again. We're just letting them in this game. And the fans are getting into it as well. And again, they get it wide right. Too easy. Too easy. Getting to the byline, Hutchinson again. Too easy. He's at the byline now. And in the end, it's Bentancur who has to come and kick it out for a corner. And I fear if we concede the next one soon, then the likelihood is Ipswich will get another one. In swinging corner, no, they take it short. Spurs have only put one player out there, so now they come from deep. But good stuff from Kulusevski. And now Spurs have a chance to break with Tell, but he's tired. And he's taken a heavy touch. But he does find Kulusevski. Heavy pass, though. Fucking hell, I said a minute ago. Tell is knackered. And get him off the pitch. It's fucking obvious. Such a good chance on the transition there. And because he's so tired, he took a heavy touch and he plays a terrible pass to Kulusevski. And again, it lets Ipswich back and away with it. And now they're looking like they've got more legs than us. As Leif Davis plays a ball over the top, but Danso does well. And then Bentancur has to get a big tackle in, but he doesn't get enough on it. And here comes Hutchinson again. Plays it down the right. They're in here down at the byline. Lots of Spurs bodies around. Oh, and then a terrible pass from there. Now, who can Son find? He finds Bergvall. Good decision. Needs an option. He's got it outside him with Kulusevski. He needs to keep this ball. And he doesn't. What is wrong with Kulusevski today? What is wrong with him? Honestly. Dross. What is wrong with him? All he has to do is keep the ball. And he loses it. And now he gives away a free kick. He's having a fucking shocker. And he's getting involved in a kicking contest here. He's going to get sent off if he's not careful. Okay, and now they're bringing on Scarlett and Odebear, and this is a good decision. Very good decision from Ange. So who's coming off? Tell off. At least Scarlett will be able to work hard. So Tell comes off for Scarlett and Son off for Odebear. And I have to say, I'm absolutely shocked that Kulusevski is still on the pitch. Sonny has played much better than Kulusevski. I guess he stayed on because of his, famed fitness. I love Decky Kulusevski, I do, but just decision-making today, his ability to hold it up has been poor. Anyway, the amount of space that Odebear will have to run into is scary if we can get him the ball in some of these transition areas. But here's a free kick to Ipswich on the left because of Kulusevski, and they've got all their men forward, so they're playing just a big diag to the edge of the box. They've got men at the deep. Danso wins it beautifully. Comes down to Odebear, who very nearly broke away from his man. And it's come back because Danso got a bit of a knock. He got a clash of heads in the box. Last thing we need is Danso to be injured here. It's Delap again, isn't it? Putting himself about. Oof, dear. Well, he's going for the ball, Delap. Danso is a big, strong boy. 15 minutes left. Nearly 4,000 of you watching concurrently, guys. Thanks so much for the support. Please do press that like button. Please do press subscribe on Chris's channel if you haven't already, at Chris Cowlin. And also my channel. You can see it there in the bottom left, at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Tottenham Hotspur news, transfer news, and views. 15 minutes left. It's been a very scrappy second half performance here. Tottenham not playing great, making some bad decisions, but still in the lead just about. So drop ball here that's going to come to Maddison. He's asking the Ipswich players to get away from him because he's going to get pressed straight away. Maddison has to go long because he's pressed straight away. Absolutely bananas. Oh, heavy touch from Odebear there. He loses it, but Bergvall comes in. He's had a good second half, Lucas Bergvall. Oh, and as I say that, he kicks the ball away, and then the Spurs player is fouled. The Ipswich fans really getting into this game. And this is kind of the last thing that Tottenham need, is the Ipswich fans to be into this. Tottenham need to just keep the ball for a bit to calm them down. The whole Ipswich crowd are on their feet. They're sensing something. And Maddison tries a bit of a Hollywood ball over the top to Odebear, who can't get it down. And as a result, Ipswich can get away. But that's well spotted by Danso in central midfield. And he keeps his run going. It goes to Odebear down the left. He's going to have to hold it up and does well. Lays it back to Madders. Back to Odebear. Got to keep it here, Spurs. Spence opens it out and comes back to Bentancur, who opens it out to Archie Gray. That's better. This is what will calm the Ipswich fans down, just keeping the ball for a bit. Gray opens it up to Danso, who again drops his shoulder and does well, and plays a good ball into Odebear, who finds Spence down the left. Go on, Jed. He comes inside narrow to Madders, who's a bit of a heavy touch, but he does well in tight space. Finds Spence. Big chance. Deflected. Goal! Yes! Yes! Jed Spence, you deserve it, my boy. You deserve it. Beautiful football down the left between Odebear and Maddison. Maddison's feet in a tight space were unbelievable. And he finds Jed Spence, and it's just deflected, but into the top corner. And that should be that, all being well. Brilliant from Spurs. And we needed it. But Jed Spence deserves it more than most. He had 2 man of the matches in a row before this. He's played well again. He's been asked to play 2 positions, and he gets his goal. And he gives it the knee slide and the face cover. Now Tottenham just, and it was good stuff earlier in that from Bergvall, who's had one of his best games as well. Calvin Phillips has gone down with an injury. Tottenham needed that. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Patch Thomas, Madders made it. Walnut 1999, Spence, just what we needed since play was increasingly scrappy and their fans were into it. Completely agree. Stephen Murphy, Spence deserves that. Scribble, Scrabble, great from Madders too. Phil DeRoom, Ange in, laughing face. Patch Thomas, you can't ignore him. Yes, he was a club sign, not Antonio Conte's, but this kid is a player. And Noel O'Dowd says, great reaction, Barnaby. Yeah, we needed it. That's absolutely right. And lovely stuff. Composed stuff from James Maddison in the box, something that we haven't been able to do all game when we've got into the box, be that composed. But he just waited, didn't he? He knew that the Ipswich players didn't want to make a tackle. They didn't want to give away a penalty. So he takes a few little touches in a short space of time, really tippy-tappy feet, and then the space opens him up for lay it off to Spence. And as we saw in earlier games, he's got a good finish on Jed Spence. And you get a shot on target from within the box, and it can take a deflection and go over the keeper as Calvin Phillips goes off. And I expect this game to really open up now. Spurs are going to have to play smart. But if they do play smart, there will be space for the likes of Odebear to break forward. But we have to play smart because they will be physical again and try and make things happen with long balls. But there will be spaces for the likes of Scarlett and Odebear if we can just get our foot on it, move them around. And here they go straight away with the long ball. 10 minutes to go. Oh, Porro does well. I've hardly even mentioned Porro in this game so far. Oh, tell you what, say he did well. He just played a ball across his own box, easily picked off as he was trying to find Odebear. Maddison putting the press on to make Ipswich go back. That's really good for Maddison. He started that press, and as a result, it's gone all the way back to their keeper. I like that. Good leadership from Madders there. Spurs putting them under pressure here. Oh, and what a terrible little dink from the keeper. And Bergvall has got in there. Oh, and Ipswich get away with it. And Bergvall slides in. I love Bergvall. He's got the dog about him. Lucas Bergvall. He's still working hard with 10 minutes to go. What a kid. Ipswich popping about into midfield now. Scarlett working hard. Kulusevski gives away a free kick for about the 19th time in this game. Got to be careful. We don't need a second booking here for Decky and him to be out against Man City. Okay. Ipswich have taken it. They're just popping it about midfield now. Odebear putting the press on. He does well, makes him go backwards. Yeah, good pressing from Odebear. Making Ipswich turn on the ball and go back to the keeper every single time here. The keeper goes wide to his left. And they're just trying to pop it around us. Good stuff from Archie Gray there, putting their player under pressure. A foul given against him, which I don't think was. It's referee. I mean, all referees are weird, aren't they? But some of the stuff he's given compared to some of the stuff he hasn't has been odd. Anyway, they're in midfield now. Oh, and Ipswich are in straight down the middle. But good stuff from Jed Spence, who was blocking it. And then Vicario came and helped him and actually just played a great pass to Odebear. Odebear finds Maddison. That was beautiful from Vicario. Lovely composure. Love that. Spurs had the ball wide right there, and then we tried to do something a bit silly over the top, and we've lost the ball again. I think, again, I know, I'm not sure if Ange always agrees, but don't try the paradise stuff. Just move Ipswich around, and the spaces will come naturally. But this is good pressing since we got this goal from Spurs, making Ipswich go backwards every time pretty much and play dangerous balls into central midfield. But that time it's really worked, and they've broken through our midfield, and they're in down the left here. Danso uses some pace. Oh, brilliant from Danso. Absolutely brilliant from Danso. Got ahead of his man and then wins a foul. Fantastic from Danso. He's put in a great performance today. Good lad. Bit of a steal at 20 odd million pounds. A proper worker bee as well. No ego about him. You can really tell that. Vicario now takes the goal kick long. Well, not the goal kick, the free kick. Up towards Odebear. He doesn't even challenge for that. Why would he? And then Porro just hikes it out. Ipswich do it early down the line. Bergvall gets his body in the way nicely. He's got to be smart here, Bergvall. Okay, it worked out pretty well. Got it to Danso, who then kicks it down the line nicely. Oh, what a flick. What a flick. I don't know who that was, but it's found Kulusevski. He's totally on his own, though, Decky, but running towards the box. Odebear getting towards the back sit, but Decky bends it. Hits the post. Goal! What a goal from Decky. A trademark Kulusevski finish. Back from the old days. I've been slagging Decky off all day. All day. And then he Deckies me. A brilliant flick on in central midfield. I'm not sure who, but a back header. And Decky's in down the right. Runs to the box, right-hand side, cuts in on his left, bends it into the far corner, in off the post. Brilliant. Who's the flick on by? Dane Scarlett, I think that is. Oh, Decky. Bent it in off the far post. And that is so good to see with this important run of games we're going to have coming up. That will give him a bit of confidence. And I have to say I'm wrong. I said I thought he should have come off instead of Sonny. I was wrong. Ange got it right. Turns out Ange knows better than me. 4-1 Tottenham. 4-1. And now another substitution. It looks like it might be Decky coming off. No, Bergvall off. Bergvall might be my man of the match, you know, for Spurs. Brilliant flick on from Dane Scarlett and takes a whack in his head for his troubles as well. But he set up that goal. That's an assist for Dane Scarlett. Lovely stuff. 4-1. That's game over. Three Premier League wins in a row for Spurs. Lovely stuff. Ipswich again just popping it about. But as I said, space will emerge if we just let, you know, our pressing do the talking, make them go backwards, make them play difficult balls. They just drop one over the top of Jed Spence now. Come on, Spurs. Good work from Odebear working back, making Ipswich go backwards again. They get themselves out wide. Going to get the cross in. Jed Spence in a good position. He blocks it for a corner. Spence has played well as well. Do have to say that. Corner comes in, back post, and it hits the side netting. '86th minute. Ipswich fans not ecstatic, but they tried to open themselves up. They tried to play Tottenham's game, and probably not the wisest decision of all time, I'd say. As Vicario clips it into Bentancur, plays a bit of a dodgy ball to Archie Gray, so he has to hack it clear. One in midfield by Ipswich, and then flicks off a Spurs head, and it comes out wide left. Oh, Gray's still there. Porro also with him. Comes to Davis. Good inside ball. Bentancur does well. Bentancur's played well as well, to be fair. Decky now down the line. Little 1-2 with Bentancur. Little nutmeg from Decky. Bentancur again still on the ball. Bit of a scrap here by the touchline. And Spurs come away with it. Porro's had a pretty easy game since he's come on, it's fair to say. Comes back to Vicario. To Danso, who's been excellent as well, I have to say. Gives it into Madders, yeah, in that quarterback position, like I said, where I love Madders to be. Out wide to Porro, and Ipswich not working hard at all now. James Maddison opens the ball out to big Kev Danso. Proper centre-back's performance today from Danso. Spurs trying to play Odebear in down the left. Decent defending, actually. Finds the ball back to the keeper. Just nearly stands on it. Scarlett putting a press on. Davis. And Ipswich have to clear it down the line. I wonder how much added time the ref will find here, or whether he'll put Ipswich out of their misery a little bit. Porro gives away a stupid foul there. Just a bit unnecessary from El Pedro. '89 minutes gone. Ipswich now have the ball down the right-hand side. Good luck running at Jed Spence here, mate. Has to cut inside, surely. Oh, he does get a cross in, though, but Archie Gray, so composed, and now he's bringing the ball out of defence. He's basically Franz Beckenbauer. He plays it into Dane Scarlett's feet, who's fouled from behind. Good forward play from Scarlett. He knows that if he just runs towards the ball with his back to goal, stops, the defender will come in, hit him in the back, he can go down, and that takes the pressure off Tottenham Hotspur. And that is the difference. Scarlett knows more about how to play the number 9 role properly in English football than Matthias Tell does at the moment. But that will take time. Archie Gray, beautiful stuff, though, from him just a second ago, bringing it composed out of defence like Matthias Sammer, like Franz Beckenbauer, like Rio Ferdinand. And Spurs, a lot of space in central midfield now with Bentancur, and they've got loads of bodies over to the left. He chips it up towards Maddison, who's got Odebear with him. Madders coming into the box now. On the left-hand side, he's looking for an option. Oh, he tried to find Odebear, but actually if Odebear had let it go, then Bentancur would have had a shot. And Ipswich managed to clear it, but it's just a hike clear for a Spurs throw in their own half. Don't forget, guys, in a few minutes, I'll be here with the instant match reaction. Then it'll be the fan show with me speaking to Spurs fans all around the world about this 4-1 victory. And then after that, the Spurs chat podcast. Oh, there is 8 minutes added time. Where did he find that? I thought he might put Ipswich out of their misery, but he hasn't. Yes, so then it'll be the Spurs chat podcast from about 6 o'clock with Chris Cowlin. So keep tuned to this channel, guys. Porro with the throw-in to Bissouma. Back to Bissouma, who tries to nutmeg Leif Davis, but actually he's pretty strong there, but Davis beats him. And then Bissouma gets out for a throw-in. Good work from Biss. I'd love to see us get a goal for Dane Scarlett here or Wilson Odebear. That would be so perfect. That would top this off. Ipswich still trying to pop it about. Maddison snapping at their heels. Madders has been really impressive in trying to get Spurs to press since we scored that 3rd goal. I'm going to have to give credit to Bentancur today as well. He's got his fair share of stick recently, but he's put in a really good performance. Davis down the right, but Pedro Porro hits him with a 50-50. 7 minutes to go of added time. Ipswich just popping it about now. The game just being played at a kind of quarter pace at the moment. Get the feeling like Ipswich don't really want to concede any more goals. They're going to play a big diag here. Kulusevski looking to help out his fullback, Porro. Don't foul him, Decky. Well done. He just kicks it off for a throw. And it stays on, actually, for Ipswich. Spurs fans, Spurs away fans loving this. Oh, they got to the byline wide right here, Ipswich. Spurs need to be strong, and Danso stands up, and it's another corner. Danso's been excellent. He's a bit winded, I think, maybe. Corner comes in. Vicario stays on his line. Free header at the back stick, as ever. Semi-cleared. Comes to the edge of the box. Odebear gets his body in the way. Oh, and then Spurs come out with it. And it's Pedro Porro down the left. He's kind of on his own. Ipswich have got a lot of players back, so he's going to have to hold this up. Or he manages to nutmeg his man. Then he dives on the floor, and the ref gives nothing. And Porro's still on the floor. So Spurs are going to have to play and defend smart here. The ball is out wide right. Presumably there's a gap wide left because no Porro. And that's where it comes. Good touch from the Ipswich player, but Kulusevski managed to get his body in the way. Ipswich player stays down in the box. Where's Porro? Has he got back in? The ball comes out wide right now. Spurs being a bit lackadaisical here as the ball comes into the box. Bentancur in a good body position and then gets a flick away. And Scarlett is here. Can he bring it out? Needs to find the right ball. That's not it. What's he doing there, Dane Scarlett? Bentancur made a long run, but he needed to just play it off to his right. Oh, they're having a look at a possible penalty for Ipswich here against Kulusevski. I think this is one, again, that shouldn't be re-refereed. The ref doesn't give it on the pitch. No. There's nothing in that at all. If he gives that, then the game has gone mad. Yeah, the game's carried on. That's good. That's exactly what they should have done in the Everton game earlier when they did re-referee the game against Man United, which was bonkers. Ipswich now have it in their back line again. 4 minutes to go. 3 goals in it. Spurs putting the high press on. Archie Gray pressing all the way up into Ipswich's half, which I like. Oh, and Porro gives away a foul there. Just trying to press. It's understandable. Ipswich getting quite a lot of space out wide right at the moment. Yeah, and they play it down into the byline. Archie Gray is there, comes across the box. Good defending from Pedro Porro. Just gets a block on it. And then Danso manages to clear it. Up to Scarlett, who's looks like he might have taken it on the half turn, but I'm buffering at the wrong time. Nothing came of that. 3 minutes left now. As Ipswich play a big diagonal over the top to the right-hand side, but they can't keep it on. Jaden Philogene worked hard today. This is a really important, good win for Spurs with the Man City game in the week. That won't be easy. They seem to be picking up a bit of form, although, of course, they didn't have a good one against Real Madrid in the week. But yeah, very important victory, making it 3 wins on the spin for Spurs. Spence gives it to Maddison and gets it back. Danso puts his foot on the ball and then tries a bit of an intricate pass and loses it. That's one of the few times Danso's lost it today. Just 2.5 minutes left now. Let's just try and keep it to 1 goal. Come on, Spurs. Got a lot of bodies forward here, Ipswich, just in case Spurs can try and nick the ball and get on a transition. Find it to Odebear or to Scarlett. That's what Bentancur's trying to do. We push Ipswich backwards. Bentancur's been working so hard all day and then gives away another free kick. Just 1.5 minutes left, so Spurs have won this game. There's no way they've got time to score 3 goals. That's how big a Spurs fan I am, that never quite feel that clear about it. Ipswich try a big old diag again over Odebear. Oh no, it's Scarlett, sorry. They're on the right-hand side now. They get another cross in. It's a good cross, but into Vicario's hands, and he just keeps it. 1 minute to go. Good handling from the Italian. Venom. This game just looks like it's petering out now. Vicario just going to kick it long, old-fashioned style, I think. Oh, he's looking for a pass. Gives it to Bentancur, and now Vicario's under pressure. Plays a ball into Spence's feet. Oh, he dives in a bit, but got away with it. And now Maddison's got a chance to run forward here. He can find Spence outside him, but he comes narrow instead. And plays the ball out into Porro. And Spurs have got loads of men forward here. So Porro plays it to Decky on the right-hand side. He's going to look for a cross, is he? No, he goes into Basuma's feet. And actually, they've only got 30 seconds to maybe make another chance here. It looks like Spurs are just going to put their foot on the ball. As Archie Gray plays it out wide to Porro, to Bissouma. Tottenham just popping it about now. Another really great performance from Archie Gray. Bentancur, this is the last 10 seconds. This is going to be it. And the ref's going to blow up, surely. Really good result for Tottenham, this, as we're into now the end 98th minute. And that is the end of it. A really good 4-1 victory for Tottenham Hotspur at Ipswich. Hi guys, welcome to my instant match review of the Ipswich Town 1, Tottenham Hotspur 4 game. And it sounds like that was an easy victory for Spurs. I wouldn't put it that way. It was a basketball game from the start. Ipswich surprised me in that they really chose to try and come at Spurs and put us under pressure. And put us under pressure, they really did. But I do always find that if you are willing to take the risk to try and play Spurs at their own game, especially if you have inferior players, then the likelihood is that Tottenham will be too clinical. And that is what happened today. A far cry, really, from what happened at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium earlier this season when Ipswich won 1-0, got a goal, and were able to hang on to that. Today, they were never able to get it because Spurs got an early 2-0 lead. And although Ipswich got the third goal and really put us under some pressure early in that second half, the depth of Tottenham's bench really helped Spurs to push on and get that win. Some good performances from Tottenham. By no means, classic Ange ball, even though it was a comfortable victory in the end in terms of goals and a 3-goal swing. There were bits and bobs where you thought, yes, Tottenham are starting to play their football. Some nice little patterns forming between Destiny Udogie and Son Heung-min again. Udogie was so fresh, and it was so good to see him. We've really missed how good and strong Udogie is in that left-back space. And that's not to put any shade on Jed Spence, who came in and played again really well on right back. And when Udogie went off after about 60, 65 minutes, Jed Spence went back to left back and did a great job as well. And obviously Jed Spence got his goal as well, which he thoroughly deserved. 2 goals for Brennan Johnson as well. 1 for Deki Kulusevski. All round, just a really good afternoon for Tottenham Hotspur. I will go into kind of my ratings of all the players, but 3 wins on the bounce for Tottenham in the Premier League is something I think it's fair to say 3 Premier League games ago we would not have been expecting. We were all fearing for when Tottenham's next result might come, the next win. But it really has stood us in good stead to get that backs to the wall win against Brentford, and then the victory against Man United, and now a really comfortable one against Ipswich. And Ipswich will cause teams trouble. That is for sure. I mean, they've already caused us trouble this year. In big Liam Delap up front, they've got one of the biggest handfuls I've seen as a number 9 since the days of Kane and Shearer. But he's a lot more broody and muscular than Harry Kane ever was. Even when Kane had put on a lot of kind of muscle in his latter days, Delap is just a lot more from the old school, whereas Kane liked to use that in the number 10 position and spread the ball about. Delap, just muscular, loves getting up for headers, and he will be at a bigger club next season, I'm sure, and I would not mind at all if Tottenham put in a little bid for him, but I would imagine he'll probably go somewhere where they're going to pay him the big bucks. But yes, a 4-1 victory away in the Premier League, never, ever, ever to be sniffed at, and a really, really excellent performance. I'll go through my player ratings. Vicario didn't really have many big saves to make. He made a couple in the first few minutes. Ipswich really came at us strong in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes of the game. Vicario had to make 2 excellent saves just in the first 60 seconds alone. But after that, they never really cut us open. He had to do a bit of handling, showed some composure with the ball at his feet. There were a few occasions today where he played some dicey balls out into his central midfielder, but that is what he's being asked to do. Ange Postecoglou will himself take responsibility for when that goes wrong. And he played some of those dicey balls. Some of them came off, some of them didn't. And Ipswich won the ball high up the pitch. And people who are a little less glass half full might say, against better teams, you play balls like that into central midfield and get picked off, you will lose goals. But today we didn't. And Vicario, I'd say, played a 7 out of 10. Jed Spence, I'm going to give him another 7.5 out of 10. He got that important goal. Just put in a really good, strong performance. A couple of occasions where he dropped his shoulder to beat men. This happened, I think, early, like in the first 15 minutes of the game. When Tottenham were under quite a lot of pressure, what Jed Spence did really well to take the pressure off was after about 10, 15 minutes, he saw the press was high on him, so he dropped his shoulder one way, beat one man, dropped his shoulder the other way, beat the other man. And as a result, he didn't really get pressed with such intensity again for the whole rest of the game because the opposition were like, okay, we can't do that because he can beat us with pace. And actually, with Spence and Udogie either side, we had 2 fullbacks who were able to beat the opposition for pace whilst dribbling with the ball. And that is something we've been really missing in terms of balance. So that's so good to see. And Udogie, I think we just haven't, because of his injuries, been able to see how good Udogie is for quite a long time. And he played today, even though it was only for 60 minutes, he played today like he did in those first 10 games of last season, where he looked like a proper new modern fullback who can invert, stay out wide, drive with the ball. The things he was doing, 1-2s, little back heels with Sonny down the left-hand side, opening up space. Very impressive performance on his first game back from Destiny. And I'm glad he was kind of wrapped in cotton wool. As I've been saying for so long now, I'm just so keen with these players who've been injured and then re-injured. Wrap them in cotton wool. Yes, give them some minutes here and there, but just save them for the Europa League. Save them for the Europa League. If we have our best team out for this Europa League run, if we can beat AZ Alkmaar and then we'll face either Eintracht Frankfurt or Ajax in the next round, we need our best players available for those games. And Destiny Udogie for sure is one of those. So I give him a strong 7, 7.5. Kevin Danso, I'm going to give a 7.5 as well. He was arguably thought he was fouled for their goal. He was maybe a little weak in the 50-50 for that. But other than that, did not put a foot wrong, showed his pace at times, showed his strength in duels, 50-50s, his ability to read the game. And one thing that has really impressed me with Danso, even though he's a little bit ungainly when the ball's at his feet, it's only how it looks. It's not actually how he is. Because whenever he comes against a man who's pressing him and he hasn't got a pass on, he just drops his shoulder and beats the man. He even did a Cruyff turn to get away from trouble at one point today. So Danso, a very impressive signing. And again, you've got to give some credit to Johan Lange. You've got to give some credit to Scott Munn, to Ange Postecoglou. They haven't got many wrong. And for me, especially if you think about it in terms of a third or fourth choice centre-back, Kevin Danso, a brilliant signing and a bit of a steal at £20 million. Archie Gray had to step in again because Ben Davis had a knock and did brilliantly. He is a Rolls Royce of a player. Again, another car analogy. We've had people in the comments talking about car analogies. He is a fantastic player, Archie Gray. Just steps in when requested, when needed, and puts in another 7.5 out of 10 performance. Oh, and I didn't want to mention anything about this, but I've just seen because it's finished, and Arsenal lost at home to West Ham. Hilarious. In their title-winning season, they keep failing. Oh, fantastic stuff. But yeah, just to go back to Archie Gray, absolutely brilliant performance from him. Rodrigo Bentancur, I thought one of his best performances of the season. I'm going to give him a 7.5, 8 out of 10. He was everywhere, sweeping up. A kind of slightly new thing I haven't seen for a long time since the Pochettino days, where Eric Dyer would play defensive midfield, and when we had the ball, he would sit in between his two centre-backs to offer another option. Well, Bentancur was doing that really nicely today, and it worked really well for us. So a good 7.5, 8 out of 10 for Bentancur. Lucas Bergvall, his best performance for Spurs, I thought, today. He didn't start brilliantly, but he really came into the game and showed his fitness in that second half. And he was starting to drop the shoulder, driving through the midfield. What a talent. What a talented boy he is. Him and Archie Gray, the future of this football club for years to come. So exciting. And Bergvall and Danso and Bentancur are up there for my man of the match today, for sure. I'm sure Brennan Johnson will probably get it because he scored 2 goals, but he scored 2 goals because of his elite ability to get in at the back post and to wait and stay to time his run perfectly. And it was good to see him doing that. I was surprised that I was really surprised that they allowed him so much space. I thought they'd play a deep block, but they didn't. And as a result, 2 really important finishes for Brennan Johnson. Great for his confidence. He'll probably get the man of the match. I'll give him an 8 out of 10 for that. And obviously, he's coming back from injury, so that's really important too. Sonny, again, I have to say, because I said it all through the watch-along, really impressed with his performance today. Definitely his best game for a long time. Again, showing it's not that his legs have gone. It's not that he's finished. It's not that he's done and he should be sold. It's that he needs rest. And when he has rest in the week, he has improved. And he's definitely improved today. I'll give Sonny a 7, 7.5 out of 10. Some decision-making wasn't great, but his decision-making for the first 2 goals really was. The first one, he flashed across the box for Johnson to finish for his first assist. Second one, he really waited, got his head up, waited for the space to arrive. And that's where he passed Johnson in for the second one. So Sonny, really excellent. And then Matthias Tell, I'll just say this. He worked really hard. He's not a number 9 in the Premier League yet. It's going to take some time for him to adapt. He's clearly a very, very talented boy. But listen, when we're playing like this and we get Dominic Solanke back in the 9, we will put someone to the sword. But as I've said for a long time, and I said it earlier with some of these players, just play Solanke. Just play Van der Ven, just play Romero, just play Udogie from the start in the Europa League games. Let's just concentrate on the Europa League. Let's go for a really deep run. Let's try and win that competition. It was amazing to see with having Spence on the pitch and Udogie how much more physical we looked. As you'll know if you watch me regularly, I've been complaining about the lack of physicality in our team. But with Danso, Udogie and Spence in that back line, we just seem a lot more physical straight off the bat. Bentancur in front of them is physical as well. Kulusevski's got his big rump that he can get in the way of people. And with Solanke on the pitch as well, I think that adds to our physicality. And again, I have to say, it's been a difficult season for Spurs. It's been a long, hard midwinter. But when we start getting our players back fit and you see them when they're starting to form their patterns again and their relationships with their teammates, we've got the makings of a really good squad. We really do. The makings of a really good squad. And maybe it'll be shown that the first time that Daniel Levy has listened to the fans and not sacked the manager when under real pressure to do so, it may well be the ultimate benefit for him. Because at the moment, you have to say these players, they love Ange Postecoglou. They're still playing for him. And another big win, 3 wins on the spin. Just in terms of the people who came off the bench, Porro kind of did okay. Didn't really see him 6.5. I'd probably say Basuma came on late, did okay, 6.5. James Maddison did well, give him a 7. Took responsibility when he came on. Was getting his team when we went 3-1 up to his teammates to press up the pitch. That was really important, and well played for him. And Odebear came on maybe 6.5. Didn't really have a chance to do too much, but huge win for Spurs. 4-1 away from home, 3 in a row, allows us to go into that Manchester City game on Wednesday night with some real confidence. Bit of a free hit, isn't it? Let's see how we do against a big team again. They've been in better form in the Premier League, but they got absolutely done by Real Madrid in the week. Let's see what happens this weekend for them. And look, let's face it, Tottenham are Man City's bogey team, so they won't really love coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I think the fans will be big time behind us on Wednesday night. I'm looking forward to it. 3 wins in a row, still in 12th place. I think we're still 4 points behind Brentford. But Aston Villa have just dropped down to 10th place, just looking at the table now. Look, if Tottenham can keep putting wins together, then we could find ourselves fighting for all that kind of top 8 towards the end of the season. Top 8 at the moment, currently Brighton in 8th place with 40 points. Fulham 9th, Aston Villa 10th on 39 points. And Spurs in 12th, 4 points behind Brentford. So what are we behind? You know, probably 6 or 7 points or something. But let's just keep a run going. Let's beat Manchester City the week and make another story. And then we have a week between that Man City game and the first leg of the AZ Alkmaar Europa League last 16 game. And that is what we have to think about. Can we make it deep into that? There we are. So we're on 33 points. So we're 7 points off 8th, basically. 6 or 7 points off 8. So it's looking a lot more rosy than it was. That is for sure. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do press like on this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Come on, you Spurs. Okay, guys, welcome to the fan show after the Ipswich Town 1, Tottenham Hotspur 4 game. Just so enjoyable to have been able to do these after 3 Premier League wins on the spin. For those of you who haven't tuned into this show before, this show I speak to Spurs fans from all around the world about their thoughts on the game and how Tottenham are doing in general. If you'd like to appear on a future episode, please do email tottenhamfanchris at gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris at gmail.com, and you can come and talk to me. But let's get started with one of my regulars, Melvin from Malta. Melvin, good to talk to you as always. And after a big victory, how are you feeling about that one, mate?
Yeah, delighted. Obviously, a difficult place, you know, because the stadium is tight, quite hostile environment. You know, the lads had a free week, and it showed because the energy was there. It took us, you know, a good 10 minutes to settle in, but once we did, yeah, it was a good game. I was happy with most of the players. I didn't think anyone really put in a bad shift. I was a bit surprised with the lineup when I saw it. I was a bit confused at you know why certain players weren't playing, but I think
what were you confused by? What were you confused by?
Yeah, Maddison. I thought Maddison mainly and Davis, but obviously now we have a bit of a squad. He's able to rotate. You know, we got the victory after all. You know, delighted with some of the players. I thought Johnson's, you know, took the goals well. Didn't do much else. You know, I was talking with my dad. He was telling me, he's like, "Who's your player of the match?" And I honestly don't know who I would give it to, because the key players for me were Bentancur. I thought Sonny, even though I thought Sonny played well, happy with his performance. You know, 2 assists, put it on a plate for Johnson. I thought the constants for me have been the last couple of games where Bentancur and Bergvall together. I think they're starting to form a partnership.
Yeah.
And I'm happy we finally have a solid two, because we've been changing the midfield three all season. And for me, Bentancur and Bergvall together are probably our best two. And then you can change, put in Kulusevski, put in Maddison, put in Sarr, depending on the opposition. But 3 Premier League wins, those are the two midfielders we've had for those games. So I'm happy with them.
It's really good. Sorry to interrupt, Melvin, but I know you were about to talk. I'm glad you're going to talk about him anyway. But it was really great, I thought, to see you can almost see Bergvall's confidence as like I'm a proper player in this team come forward in the second half, where he suddenly was dropping his shoulder and beating players. All those things that I think we all saw in those social media clips from the Swedish league. Suddenly you're seeing when the space opens up, he feels like he can do it now.
Yeah, I think with Bergvall, he has the frame as a player, the size to play in the Premier League. Obviously, he's still young. I thought he's getting used to the way he should press. I think earlier he was always getting caught out of position, pressing, like headless chicken at times, always leaving gaps behind him. I think his pressing game is getting a lot better, and his understanding of when to press, where to be. I think playing next to Bentancur, probably you learn a bit of these guys. I think Bentancur is an experienced player, and I'm happy with them too. I think they are the reason we're winning lately. Obviously, there's other factors with Spence. Udogie was great. How great was to see Udogie?
So good.
Powerful runner, strong runner. The ball speed, passing. We were quick. We were sharp. Lots of happy things to be with. I thought Ipswich they scared me the first 10 minutes. I thought it was going to be one of those days. I mean, I missed the first 30 seconds, and my dad told me they scored.
Yeah, they pretty much did.
So it's one of those games. Kulusevski was a bit quiet until he scored, but you can't blame him. He's played literally every game. He's a warrior, that guy, and I'm obsessed with his mentality and how he plays. Vicario was quiet. Danzo continues to show the recruitment's been excellent. I mean, where did they pick this guy? He's strong. He's like combining Van de Ven with Dragazin in a weird way.
Yeah.
His physique is. Archie Gray continues to show that he's. How is this guy 18? He's mature. He's intelligent. He reads the games reads it very, very well. He doesn't make a mistake. And I thought their striker was really good. By the way, I forgot his name for the moment. Delap. I mean, he's a good striker. He reminds me of Solanke. He makes me miss Solanke because we miss that at the moment. I thought Tell showing a bit of he needs an adaptation period for the Premier League. He worked hard. He didn't do anything bad per se, but he didn't really do anything good either. I don't really, if I missed anyone out, Vicario didn't have to do much. He didn't do anything bad. He didn't do anything good either. But it's one of those games where the 3 points is what's important. And I thought we're showing resilience again, we did against United, like we did against Brentford. We're starting to learn how to game manage, which is something we didn't have early in the season. We didn't know how to manage these games, keep the ball, even go for a third, a second goal. I thought. Spence, I'm so happy for him that he scored. I'm really, really happy for him. Dane Scarlett came on, which I was happy because
it must be his first Premier League assist. I think Dane Scarlett that
probably yeah. I mean he didn't. He it's good for him. He's very physical. Dane obviously needs minutes, so it's a good performance. Hopefully no one got injured. Postecoglou continues to use his subs really well when he has options off the bench. Odebear coming on, Maddison came on, Bissouma came on, and I think we're starting to see slowly, the shape of our best lineup, because I don't think for a while we even knew our best lineup, and I think we're getting close to it now. I think using Spence being so versatile, being on the left, on the right is very good for Tottenham, for us. He can cover both sides. He can play really well. I mean, he started on the right and scored when he played on the left. So it just shows the versatility of this player. And you think we nearly sold him. And you just have to think, if you work hard and you're there and you have the right mentality, and sometimes you need a bit of luck in football. I mean, Postecoglou had great comments about him. So we continue great weekend, Barnaby. Let's not forget who lost, in their title challenge.
Hilarious.
I think I'm one of those fans that really enjoy my weekend when we win and they lose. So
me too.
Especially, yeah.
Now, I just want to ask before I let you go. I was very impressed by how when Maddison came on and we scored that third goal, he kind of showed a bit of leadership. I could see him just making sure that we were pressing them all the way up the pitch when it would have been very easy for us to kind of sit back and let them kind of come to us at the edge of our own 18-yard box. And that showed me a little bit of like, maybe it was a good decision. I know you said at the beginning you were surprised Maddison didn't start. Maybe it was a good decision. There were some reports that Maddison and obviously Ben Davies and Sarr had picked up little knocks. So don't start Maddison when you don't have to. Only start him if he's feeling 100%. And then when he comes on, he really took responsibility, I thought.
Yeah, I've been very critical of Maddison this season. I know when he plays well, we tend to win, and we need him this season. He's an important player because he changes games. He makes us attack better, and to have him, we pretty much won the game without using him. He only came on the 64th minute, so he was rested most of the game. Yeah, we have a midweek game in mind, and then we have Europe, which is honestly my priority this season. So we're gonna have to rotate these players. We have to win games without Maddison. We have to win games probably without other key players at times because we're gonna have other priorities like on the weekend or midweek. So Maddison, showed leadership. We need leadership in this team. Sometimes we've lacked leadership. I thought Vicario's leadership is insanely good. I've heard Chris's comments of how loud he is in the stadium, how shouty he is, how energetic he is, and it just brings you that 10% more out of the team. I think if you don't have that in the team, you need one of those guys. And they say goalkeepers are all insane anyway.
I think that's fair to say. Melvin, mate, thanks for being a part of the show. Really appreciate it. Let's talk after. Hopefully, we beat Man City on Wednesday night.
All the best, Barnaby.
See you, mate. Bye-bye. Next up, over to Ireland and Noel. Noel, thank you, mate, for coming on. How are you feeling?
Oh, magnificent, Barnaby. Class. 4-1. Unfortunately, I lost my stream earlier on and had to watch the Ireland rugby match. So, I had your commentary on, and every time we scored, I was amazing. Actually, your reaction was fantastic. So I was dependent on you to tell me how well we have done. But, it sounds like by all accounts, we played very well. I think it was a slow start, actually. You were saying it was a slow start. Ipswich had a few chances earlier on.
I did, yeah.
But I did actually manage to see the two Johnson goals, which are very well set up by Sonny. I thought he was, back to his best at that point. I did see a few clips as well of Archie Gray, and I think, did you say that he reminds you of a young Beckenbauer?
Well, there was just one occasion where he read the game perfectly as the ball came into the box. He kind of snapped in front of one of the opposition players and then just drove forward for about 40 yards. And then got his head up and just played it off perfectly. Yeah, he does actually. He looks effortless. It looks very very simple to him. And we have to remember he's only 18, 19 years of age. He's fantastic. I think actually, the point has been made. The squad is a lot, obviously getting back to resembling some type. We have competition for places now, and agree with your earlier points. We really can concentrate. We can push it maybe 7th or maybe 8th or 9th, which is not going to get Europe. So I think the focus should be on winning the Europa League. There's a big prize at the end of it, and with all the players that we have back, I think we could manage that very, very well. So all in all, Jed Spence, we talk about him every week. What a player he is becoming. When everybody's back, obviously Hugh Doggy seemed to have played well as well. Yeah. I mean, will Porro start or will Spence start? That's a conundrum. Personally, it's a great conundrum to have, though, isn't it? Because also, if you think about it, Spence's form will be pushing Porro to have to play better himself to get in the team. Absolutely, yeah. I read somewhere that they should send Porro for a 2-week holiday. I think that might be just a wee bit extreme. And Kulusevski. Yeah, Kulusevski. But I actually left the rugby and came home, and
put on your stream while you were scoring the third goal, and your reaction was class, and then we seen it out and scored the fourth one. So fantastic day. Ireland won the rugby as well. So
yes, against a resurgent Wales, I saw.
They played very well. And the pub that I go to, actually, there was a lot of Welsh fans in it. They travelled over, for the game, and they were very magnanimous in defeat, and no hard feelings, and everybody was mingling. So it was a good day. So
well, top man.
Ireland winning, Spurs winning 3 on the bounce. Couldn't be happier.
There we go. Noel, hopefully let's talk after another win, 4 in a row against City on Wednesday.
I think we can do it, Barnaby. And I'm going 2-0.
2-0 on Wednesday. I love it. All right. See you then.
On you, Spurs.
Bye-bye. Thanks to Noel. Just before I go to our next thing, a lot of this really intrigues me. A few people in the comments talking about, saying things like, "Are you still Ange out now that we've won 3 games in a row?" Etc., etc. So I'll read a few of these out. It's Oz Singer Spur more than anyone. Just saying, Barnaby, are you still Ange out, etc. So here we go. Barnaby, are you still Ange out like you were a couple of weeks ago, or have you joined the dots that same players playing every few days of the year impossible? Well, firstly, Oz Singer Spur, thank you so much for your comment. Really appreciate it, and thanks for asking the question. I would very much be keen for you to go back through all of my videos and find a bit where I said I want Ange out of this club, because I've never ever said that. And actually, I think, Charles Preston has helped me out there and said Barnaby was mildly Ange out at best. What I've always said about Ange is that I'm desperate for it to work for him. I really love him. I think he's an excellent man manager. I think he's an excellent manager in the press, as in the media. And I think he clearly has the team playing for him. He has players still playing for him, which hasn't always been the case at Spurs under previous managers. Whenever things have started to go wrong, you start hearing the leaks about the players feeling like training is too hard or training is too soft or not playing for them, right? So I love Ange on that basis. What I would say about Ange, and have consistently said about Ange, is that there is some naivety to his tactical approach. And even today, we were pretty lucky when Bournemouth, who am I talking about? Ipswich, they had a second goal disallowed when, again, and any of you who watch all of my watch-alongs will just think I'm a broken record about how we don't block crosses and we don't mark our back post. And that, to me, shows a level of naivety that should have changed by now. Now, do I think that is a sackable, a reason for him to be sacked? No, and that's why I've never said I want Ange out. I've put titles on my YouTube videos saying Ange out, ? Is it time for Ange out? And I've suggested that maybe it is, I've suggested at times that maybe it is a bit too much for him. However, I've also said he's been unlucky with the injuries, but also, is he somewhat responsible for some of the injuries? I mean, he is the manager of the club. It's his responsibility. But no one is happier than I am that Ange has got 3 wins in a row. But I will stick to this, and I will say I think Ange is under a lot of pressure, and that pressure will come down to how deep he goes in the Europa League. If he gets us to the final of the Europa League, I think his job will be safe, whether he wins that final or not. I would argue, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong, but I think if he only gets us to the semi-final and certainly only the quarterfinals and we finish in the bottom half of the league, I'm not sure Ange will be manager of Tottenham Hotspur next season. I'm really not, because you've got to look at the bigger picture. And the big picture at Spurs is, I'll use an analogy, or I'll use it in simple form. Aston Villa have earned £100 million this year so far from the Champions League, and that is money that Tottenham have not earned. And as a result, I'm afraid, like him or not, and a lot of you won't, Daniel Levy will be looking at that as the baseline. Tottenham need to be in the Champions League. They need to be earning that money, because it's all well and good having the revenue from the stadium being higher than Chelsea's revenue from their stadium or Arsenal's. But if you're not in the Champions League like Arsenal or Aston Villa are, you're losing 150 million by the end of the season. So I think Tottenham and Scott Munn and Johan Lange will be talking to the agents of other managers. I think they'll be talking to Iraiola's agent. And it will come down, I think, at the end of the season to what Ange does in the Europa League. If he has his players fit for the rest of the season, they don't get re-injured, and that is pressure as well. If he has his players fit, then they have a chance of going deep in that tournament. But like I said, I will reiterate it, and you will find lots of clips of me saying it. I would love it to work for Ange. I would love it. I love him. I think he's great. And I want him to be right in that he's going to win something. And I love the way he talks about trying to awaken this sleeping giant of a football club. And that's what we need. So I would love that to be the case. I just thought that worth saying, but maybe this is good timing. Let's go over to Australia and speak to Blake and put the pressure on Blake as to how he feels about it all. How are you, mate?
Barnaby, first of all, mate, great to be back on with you under much better circumstances than last time. Great call with the Watchalong too, mate. Brilliant to see. I'm actually going what we call in Australia full nuffy. I've got my kangaroo scarf here from the Australian pre-season tour. So nuffy's like basically, full hooligan, not quite, probably just very nuffy, I guess is the best way to put it.
Over here we call it full kit wanker, mate.
Yeah. Excellent, mate. Excellent. I love it. Look, incredible game, 4-1. 3 wins in the Prem now. Want to call out the away supporters as well. I thought they were a fantastic start to finish, like so vocal, getting the players into the game. So, look, first 10 minutes, I thought it was generally like watching the NBA All-Star game for a little while. It was just end to end and bit of showtime from both sides, trying to get into goal. But look, honestly, after that, we really settled in, and Johnson hit the back of the net. And look, when you're going to teams that are struggling to get wins and that are fighting for their lives to stay in the Prem, the best way to do it is to create chances in and around the box, keep applying pressure. And that's exactly what we did. We got on the front foot. And that's the first time we've seen that for a while. Like we've been scraping out victories with depleted sides. I think Man United was that first sort of glimpse at a better run at it. And today was outstanding. It looked like it was front foot the whole way through. Couple of key performances from me. Obviously, a brace from Johnson, probably a contender for man of the match initially. But yeah, just all the stick that he cops. I think he's actually really pivotal for our structure. And as you said earlier in your call, mate, the timing of his run's really key for us. And when he just holds out that extra second and hits the back of the net, it's a joy to watch. Spence, unbelievable. Again, obviously. Just such an incredible player, and good luck dribbling past him. I think it's just so good to watch him in defence. And the big call out I wanted to make in terms of performances, I actually came on the show a few weeks ago after we lost to Liverpool with Chris and Craig and whatnot, and basically the question came up about Sonny's leadership, and I went in to defend him because I think he shows leadership capabilities in different areas, and he sort of leads by example. And today, that was the best example of it. I think the criticism after the Liverpool loss was fair, but he's got to get flowers today. He's got to get full credit today because he was a captain's game, and he's getting to that age where, 60 to 70 minutes is probably his capability, and he's not able to play 90 minutes twice a week, which is what he was doing. So I don't think it's by any means us trying to sell him. I don't think that's off the table. I think if you look at the way Liverpool manage Mo Salah as well, they're the same age, and he's managed exactly the same way with good rotation. So yeah, they were my thoughts. And Big Kev as well, love him, absolutely love Big Kev. What a signing! So
and how do you think then? Now obviously 3 in the spin going into Man City. What do you think is going to happen in that game?
Oh, I feel pretty confident at home. I'm always cautiously optimistic, of course, and I'm always a glass half full kind of guy. But I really do think we've got their number on a number of occasions this year, and United and City both. But yeah, I think if I was to predict, I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory over Man City. So just at home, get a good run in, and I think that's going to be great. You couldn't ask for better preparation for Europa, where our focus should now turn, I believe. So yeah,
absolutely. So good to have that. The Man, I don't know if you agree, but that Man City game kind of feels a bit like a free hit. Like we can have a real go at it. It doesn't really matter if we lose. It's really nice knowing that it doesn't really matter if we beat them, because Arsenal and them, they're not involved in the title race really, and Arsenal just lost embarrassingly today. So
Arsenal winning the league.
Well, I mean,
I don't
know. They got their fans got so excited because Everton got a draw against Liverpool and then they lose at home to West Ham. I just find that excellently hilarious. But yeah, look, I think maybe it could be fun to watch against Man City in the week. I really do.
Yeah, it could be end to end again, but obviously that quality, they've sort of hit their straps again. Obviously, other than the Champions League, but certainly in the league, they found their form again. So it's going to be by no means a walkover. But I think with the way we're playing, that confidence that we're building in games and getting minutes back in the legs of the likes of Udogie. I forgot to mention him. He was absolutely brilliant today as well. Just that overlap run, the pace, the power. My goodness, he's going to be hard to stop. So, yeah, all systems go at Hotspur way, my friend.
Top man. Listen, thanks again for being part of the show, and let's speak again after on Wednesday, Blake.
Would love it, mate. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Next up, over to Canada and Pat. Pat, what did you make of that victory, mate?
Oh, my God. It's good to have 3 in a row. I'll tell you that much.
Damn right. Damn right. Who really impressed you for Spurs today? Why do you think we won that game so comfortably in the end?
Well, honestly, I got to say Danso was really, he was really strong on the ball. It was kind of a standout first half for him. A lot of people were really impressed with Archie Gray. He was really good, but I thought Delap was like kind of out competing him physically in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
But Archie Gray showed some good mentality and like kind of figured it out in the second half. And he's still so composed on the ball. I do have to give a huge shout out to the 3 in the midfield, man. I think those 3, we just have to stay. Like, we need them in every single Europa League game from here on out. Like, we've got Kulusevski and Bentancur and Bergvall, who are so good at beating a press. Sar and Basuma, they're good at they're good at intercepting the ball, but they're not really good at beating a press and working in transition. And these guys are so great. Like, it was amazing. Sonny was great. Like, it was a good team performance. I wouldn't say that like the 4-1 was like a solid 4-1 for me. Like we had things go our way, a couple VAR calls to save us, or offsides, I should say. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy that we had like more of a convincing win than the last 2 wins, because it seems to kind of paint the picture that players are back. We're able to use our depth and play the kind of football that we're used to playing.
So would you say you would go for Kulusevski in that kind of 8-10 role ahead of Maddison and then Johnson on the right? Is that what?
Yeah, I think I would for now. Maddison's, don't get me wrong, Maddison did come on really well. I just think Kulusevski's, he's a bit stronger on the ball, and we need somebody like that to start a good counterattack. Maddison goes, like, he gets fouled too quickly. And he goes down. Kulusevski, he can be strong on the ball and make some passes and actually make something happen. Not that Maddison can't. It's just I think that Kulusevski is just better in that role right now. And it's Johnston, like, we need that pacey direct winger up there. I don't think Ipswich was ready for that Son and Johnson link up today, and it was just brilliant. Like, again, Son just pacey balls coming into Johnson for the first goal, and then sometimes I really hate when Son hangs onto the ball too much because he's not really good at close play. But today that was so good, really good composure.
Yeah.
Great for that second goal. I'm really happy for Sonny. He's been struggling.
I thought what I really noticed today, maybe this might be one of the biggest things about having players back from injury, is that we suddenly, not only the physicality that I mentioned earlier, but also so many more players on the pitch who can beat a man when they're under pressure. So when the press comes in big, instead of having to play it backwards or sideways, like we've seen Tottenham having to do for the last 2 or 3 months, suddenly you've got Udogie, you've got Spence, you've got so many players who, even from the back line, even Danso did it a few times, and Archie Gray bringing the ball out of defence. And that's just in the back line alone, all able to beat a man. And Bergvall was doing it as well. And that, I think, really, from my point of view, puts doubt in the opposition in terms of how hard they can press, because they know that if they're suddenly beaten so easily, then they're going to be in trouble.
I completely agree. And having Spence as a competitive left back or right back really puts your point into perspective, because Udogie, if we want to manage his minutes, Porro, if we want to manage his minutes, we've got Spence, man. He's just jumping back and forth, and he's the same threat. Like, he's, Udogie was awesome. We forgot how good he was, getting into good areas, like good close play. That link up on the left with Son was just fantastic.
Amazing.
But Jed offers just something different. Like, he's a bit stronger on the ball. He's a bit he's good. He's spatially aware. Like, I'm so happy that he was able to get a goal today. But yeah, just having a bit of depth on either side, for our defense is just, it's threatening. It's really threatening.
And just before I let you leave, because I've got more people to speak to, Man City on Wednesday, what's your prediction for that game?
Man City, that's going to be tough. They've been doing good in the league, and we need to manage some minutes. But again, we've got all of Manchester's number. Manchester's only been white, so I'm calling it a clean sheet, 2-0.
I love it, Pat. Thanks so much, mate. Really appreciate you being part of the show. Let's speak again after that game.
Okay, man. We'll see you.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Next over to my radio microphone twin, Tim Spear. Tim. How are you, mate? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm much better today. Much better. Lots and lots of positives today. A few worries. The first 10 minutes was a worry.
It was, yeah.
We could have easily gone 1 or 2 down. But then we seemed to settle down. Loads of very good performances. I was particularly pleased about the kind of change in direction in relation to the press, that it wasn't just all out press all the time, that they'd sit back and then all of a sudden they'd press quick and kind of surprise them with the press. In terms of players, Danso's immense. I think it's a great signing, very strong, much better on the ball and much quicker than people give him credit for, I think.
Yes.
Both fullbacks, we really missed Destiny. He was silky and great and quick. And so it was nice to see him for an hour or so.
Don't you feel like, sorry to interrupt, but don't you feel like it's almost, and I'll put myself in this boat as well, but certainly in terms of Spurs fans, it's almost like we've forgotten how good a dog he is at his best. I think because he's probably played in between the injuries when he's not been fully fit. But today you could see from the first few minutes how fresh he was. And it was like a real, I was like, oh, that's the guy who played in the first. Actually, do you know what? I was going to say the first 10 games last season, but I actually first saw him in person at that Shakhtar Donetsk friendly in Harry Kane's last game. And I was there and I was like, oh, we have a proper player. And he is.
I saw him for the first 10 games of last season. He was amazing, like really quick and intelligent as well. He was overlapping Sonny. I think that really helped Sonny with his confidence because he knew that Destiny was there as well. I thought Bergvall is another one who's definitely growing into the game. He's got much more pace than you think, and he's very silky, and he's getting much more confident on the ball. And Bentancur was his usual Rolls Royce, back to his Rolls Royce self. I thought it's great having Brennan at the back post again, because for all his faults, and he's got plenty, he can finish a ball, and he's always seems to be there. I mean, he was sort of distinctly average during the game, but scores 2 goals. And
I think
that's
him.
right?
That's him. I think that's him. Is that he's elite at 3 things. One is that finish when he's in the inside right position into the bottom left-hand corner. One is coming in at the back post. And one is the cross across the front of the box when he gets to the byline.
Yeah.
And then after that, he doesn't really kind of get involved that much.
No, I think I give Jed the man of the match, mostly because he played both sides fullback and scored his first league goal. So I hate to be boring that way, but I remember sitting there in the second half when he's playing left back, and the guy wasn't getting past him, and that's what was different. He's just not getting past him. I think Tell needs a bit more time just to get used to the Premier League. He goes down a bit easy, turns into trouble a bit easy. A couple of things really. One is, when the hell is a penalty anymore? Because literally the guy might as well have shot him in the side of the head when Danso went through. He wasn't in control of the ball and just literally barged straight into him and knocked him over. So I don't really understand that. Kind of how that works anymore, really.
I think a lot of it, I think a lot of stuff like that is done almost like on optics. Yeah. And it's like, that's the optics of that for the ref are penalties don't get given for those. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's weird, but it's almost like, and I said it in the watch, I was like, oh, he won't get that. But of course, anywhere else on the pitch, he would have got a free kick. And that's where for me, it's almost like referees, they make it harder for themselves. Like I said it when there was loads of, jiggery pokery going on at corners again with players getting physical with each other. It's like, just start next season, get Howard Webb to say, we're going to give penalties for any physical touching at corners. And then it'll last like 2 weeks. And then also say, we're going to give fouls in the box as penalties for any fouls that would be fouls outside the box. But instead, they're just like, oh, there's a higher, what's the word they use?
Threshold.
Threshold. Yeah, it's bollocks. It's all bollocks.
But even if there's a higher threshold, he literally, I mean, Danso went like, great for him, just went to go and get that ball. He made no attempt to play the ball and took him out. It wasn't even like there was a touch there. I mean, he literally took him out. Shout out, because you weren't quite sure, to Dane Scarlett, who gets his first assist in the Premier League. And so I'm really happy for him. That was a fantastic flick on. And Kulu, right, when he's on form, just tucks those things away. What I think people forget, because we haven't done it so often, is when we're reasonably fit, in the last quarter of a game, because we are fit, we can annihilate a team. So that they showed that really well today, is to like calm everything down. Even if we don't do anything for half a game, that last 15-20 minutes we can really do a lot of damage, and we did. And that's something we used to do quite a lot, as far as I remember.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of calling for at just after halftime, or at halftime. I think I was saying, I think Ipswich have played well, they pressed hard, but maybe there will come a time where that will affect them. And actually, then they never quite pressed as hard in the second half. What they did a bit more was be a bit more direct in the second half. I think the fact they got their goal from kind of a long ball flicked on and causing trouble kind of led them to do that. But look, a win is a win is a win. Listen, mate, I really appreciate you being part of the show. I've got a couple of people to talk to, but let's talk again after the Man City win.
Exactly. 3-1. See you later.
See you. Bye-bye. Okay, next up, I'm going to Jim. Jim, how are you, mate? What did you think of that victory?
Oh, that was a great game. That was going back to dominating a game the way we'd done on some games last year and some games earlier this season. And it goes to show you what having your starters back healthy and getting people a bit of rest can do. Son, with just a bit of rest, all of a sudden he's back to being Son again, and he made 2 beautiful assists there. I mean, that is classic Son, and it proves that he doesn't necessarily need to score goals to be effective. He can also set up his teammates to score goals. So
agreed.
That made me very happy indeed.
And I love the fact that I think it'll, a couple of assists will give him loads of confidence as well. And he's Man City's nemesis, isn't he? So it wouldn't surprise me if he got a lot of space and maybe scored on Wednesday night.
Yeah. And another player who is once again excellent, it's now pretty obvious to everyone, Jed Spence is a player. And every time I think about Antonio Conte, I think, why couldn't you see that this guy's a player? What were you thinking, Antonio? And he was just brilliant.
Yeah, I think with Jed Spence, you can totally see, like, he's one of those players who I think probably gives the impression that he doesn't care, but actually he really does. So he's probably quite laid back in training, and that is like the antithesis of what Antonio Conte looks for. Antonio Conte, I mean, we're talking about a man, Antonio Conte, who's at Napoli, and he's bought Scott McTominay from Man United, who is the kind of epitome of a player who always did brilliantly at Man United, but he's almost deemed as not sexy enough to play for them because he was just a worker bee, like a hard worker. And Conte will have looked at someone like Jed Spence and be like, oh, he doesn't work hard enough, so I'm never going to play him. Whereas I think Ange has finally kind of allowed himself to trust him and is really reaping the rewards. What an incredible performance. What do you think then going into Wednesday's game against Manchester City? Can we make it 4 in a row? What will we need to do that?
We can. We've beaten them already this year. And they always do subpar performances when they come to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And now that we're getting players back healthy, that gives us another edge over them. And, they've been struggling this year. With Rodri out, they've struggled to adapt to that. And Pep is no longer looking like, a magician as a coach. He's looking like, gee, welcome to the real world, Pep, the one that most of us have been, inhabiting on a constant basis. And so I think we, keep players healthy. And, I expect that Madison's probably going to start because he's rotating Madison in and out. He starts one game, comes off the bench one game. Yep. And that's another thing I like about Ange is that he's found a way to get the best out of Madison, just rotate him in and out. Midfield is the one position this year where Ange has had the luxury of being able to rotate people. And I applauded Ange for that midfield rotation. And he's getting, I think, the best out of Mass. He's sort of getting around some of the inconsistencies by simply saying, okay, you started this game, you're coming off the bench next, you'll start the next game. And it's working. He's getting a lot out of Madison that way.
Yeah, completely agree. So before I let you go, just because we're running out of time, what's your prediction for that Man City game?
I think we'll win. I hesitate to predict a score. It depends on who all is playing and if we're, good and rested, have a good training week. But I see us winning the game. I can't predict the score because I know we'll score at least one goal, and hopefully we won't give up any because they've been struggling a bit at times too. So come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, and actually I'm just double checking. It'll be the first time in quite a long time where Spurs have an extra day's rest compared to the other team, because Man City are playing Liverpool tomorrow, which will be a huge game for them. So we should be hopefully a little less tired than them. But listen, thank you so much, Jim, for coming on. Thanks for being part of the show. Let's talk again after what will hopefully be 4 in a row on Wednesday night.
I'm looking forward to it. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Okay, and last but by no means least, over to the Czech Republic and Steve. Steve, good to speak to you after yet another win. We're cooking with gas. Steve, how do you feel about it?
Fantastic. What a fantastic performance. A little bit shaky in the beginning with the goal that was disallowed, obviously, for offside. And then later on when they had a shot across goal and they hit the upright, I think it was the bar, between the bar and the post.
Yeah.
A little bit shaky in the beginning. But yeah, wonderful performance. A lot of good performances.
Who was your player of the match? Because a lot of people in the comments are arguing over who player of the match was.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to call. I would say Bergvall. Absolutely unbelievable performance. Yeah, for me, very, very closely followed by several others, including Gray and Spence. But yeah, for me, Bergvall. The way he was picking up the ball in midfield, dominating the midfield, spraying the ball around. He's getting used to the pace of the game. I kind of agree with Melvin's comments.
Melvin, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. With him and with Bergvall and Bentancur in the middle, and then one other rotated, because they both get their foot in. They've both got an eye for a pass. For me, Bergvall, absolutely fantastic performance.
And what about Kevin Danso then? Like, he, for me now, seems like an absolutely vital signing and made, we can complain that he came in late, but in the end, I think he's the right signing.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried. I think you mentioned it earlier on in another game. After another game, he looks not wooden, but he looked. He's a very big guy. He's very muscular. But the way I think he did that Cruyff turn, like you said, on the edge of the box earlier on in the game, I was thinking, oh yeah, he's got it. And he's got pace. He's very good in the air. I was really impressed with his performance. Coming forward as well, bringing the ball forward. After he got that head injury, but it was a clash of heads towards the end of the game there, and he suddenly found himself marauding upfield and playing a 1-2 and getting forward as well as all his defensive duties that he carried out particularly well. Immensely impressed. Definitely a 7.5 out of 10 for him.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
and
happy, very happy.
Yeah, and last but by no means least, obviously Man City on Wednesday. What's your prediction for that? Could we be going for 4 on the spin?
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think so. I think we'll get it the way we played today. I would, scores are scores. I'd go for something like 3-1. I'd hope for something like that, but
that would be
as long as we get the win. I'm happy if it's 1-0, but I don't like hanging on to 1-0s like we did against United, because we don't often hang on. So get a couple of early goals, 2-0 at half time, and keep the pressure on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm confident.
I think what would be great is like a glory night, a victory, and no injuries with a week then to prepare for the AZ game. Listen, Steve, thanks again for being patient, mate, and coming on, and hopefully speak to you after that game. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Barnaby. You too.
Top man. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, thank you so much. That has been the fan show after the Tottenham 4, Ipswich 1 away win in the Premier League. If you would like to appear on a future episode of the fan show, talking to me after a Spurs game, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's very important to us that this channel gives everyone a voice, particularly from those around the world. So wherever you're from, please do get in touch. Okay, guys, that has been the end of a long but very enjoyable afternoon. Ipswich 1, Tottenham Hotspur 4, Spurs 3 in a row in the Premier League. Please do subscribe to Chris's channel if you haven't already, at Chris Cowlin. He will be here in 5 minutes' time on his channel, a different stream though, so look out for it in his live section with the Spurs Chat podcast, where he'll be joined by Ricky Norwood, Mike Apps, and Johnny Bowe. So do tune in for that for even more Tottenham Hotspur content. You can also subscribe to my channel for more daily Tottenham Hotspur and transfer news at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube. But most important, guys, another win, 3 points. Man City at home on Wednesday. Bit of a free hit. Let's turn them over again and then go into that AZ Alkmaar quarterfinal in great spirits. Have a great rest of your weekend. Come on, you Spurs.